Okay, cool. That noise gate's being a bit fucky, that's for sure. Oh well. Hello, comrade. Hello, everyone. I hope we are having an excellent evening. I'm highly excited to read through this game. This is going to be fan-fucking-tastic, right? I say that, and I'm pretty sure. Now, we have background music going because music is not included in these Choose Your Own Adventure music games. But I want to make sure that we're giving appropriate... Yeah, I know, and the robot is very kind, but I thought I fucking did, and apparently I didn't. So, I'm trying. That's our backing track at the moment. It will likely loop. I believe it should go through the whole time. It is provided by Ivan Dutch, who does pretty good royalty-free music. And I figured something a bit rainy backgroundy would be enough to keep us happy for reading a visual novel of some sort. Now, okay, I have been pretty busy, so it took me a little bit to get shit going. I'd like to put this on top of the game. So let's move this up, move the chat box up. That should be the most important thing. Move it over a little bit as well, and that should help us most of the time. Now, I know you can't really see the game there. The game stream looks like this, you know? Once again, we're creating some black space that drives Comrade insane. My actual sincerest apology. Seriously, that kind of sucks, my bad. But at least it looks not so bad. You get more of my face, and you get text that is large enough to actually read. Which is my plan, hopefully. Now, it is Wednesday night, fortnightly. The schedule says I should be playing Kingdom Hearts, doesn't it? It says I should be having a great time with our special guest, our beloved Samantha, Silk and Prison. Now, unfortunately, she has taken the very appropriate and highly appreciated decision to look after mental health, take a break, stretch, and rest. And for that, we can only encourage and salute her expertise. Now, I also reached out and said, hey, do you want me to save Kingdom Hearts? Because I'm very happy to. That would be a great thing to do. That's okay. Honestly, I prefer the performatively mad rather than actually mad because, you know, there's humor to be had in the performatively mad and much less to be had in the I'm actually annoyed. So, Silken Prism did say, no, I'm happy with either. You can go ahead or play Kingdom Hearts, go ahead, or do something new. So I left it to the community, a lovely, lovely community at the Professor Jimbles, not Dice Bag, the Professor Jimbles class Discord space, which you can get to by typing !class into our chat, or sending a message to someone and we'll see if we can get you in and up and running. Many people voted for something new, for various reasons. I voted for both because I love Kingdom Hearts, and doing more Kingdom Hearts is always going to be enjoyable for me. It's not like I spend a fortnight thinking about it every time. I do, I'm terrible and I love it. But I also voted for the Book of Hungry Names because I've been excited about this potential game ever since it was announced. Announced without a release date too. The release date was announced like 5 days or so before the actual game. Anyway, I very excitedly picked up a copy while I was away. Aha! What do you think about that? Once we're on gameplay mode, can we zoom in? What do you think? Yeah? Ah, now Emma Stitches is doing me a big favor and delivering me coffee, which I really appreciate. What I can do... You wanted to vote for both so we could use the emojis. That is another benefit that I enjoyed, right? But it's not the only reason. Text bigger. Text bigger. Text bigger. And now, do that. And now, do that. Yeah, see, you're right, but now I have to scroll and you can't see all the options at once. But, yeah, you do what you can, right? If it helps visibility, we'll do it. And now I get a larger face. I have no issue with. There you go, what do you think? Better, Luxy? I can assume yes. Yeah, and like I made the both of the cute emotes. I went online and stole one from for Kingdom Hearts. Because of course I did. Like I'm not gonna make it myself. I'm not Luxy. No, I'm not that talented. Don't be ridiculous. That's the spirit. And thanks to Emma Stitches for making me a decaf. I'm going to order more decaf beans. We'll make cold brew decaf. And the coffee fans and coffee snobs will hate me for it, but I'll drink more coffee than them because I won't be afraid to have it late at night. Ah. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, and we voted for it, and it seemed like a lot of people voted for Book of Hungry Names for various reasons. Comrade's performative madness, performative anger about not having an overlay. So there's so much black space it looks horrible for the Kingdom Hearts one. It was a persuasive reason for him to just like do it. Not like season, I didn't make the emotes out of nowhere. The emoji, the reacts. There's 2 C's. Instead, I just went online and stole them, and then quickly made one of the Hungry Names, which is not going to be very useful, that's for sure. To the point where I don't intend to put it on Twitch. Though I will put the Kingdom key up, that sounds great. I got emote slots, let's do it. But for the people who just want to tune in, keep me in the background, maybe relax a little, enjoy having some quiet time of just Jimbles, reading you a story. That's why I got a nice coffee and a lot of water, and I'm going to go through the whole thing. I'm looking forward to it. Now, this is Werewolf the Apocalypse, and compared to the Vampire, the Masquerade, it's not even Requiem game that we've just been through, right? We've just joust. They're the last Choose Your Own Adventure novel we went through, right? I can add the rope to Twitch, no worries. I know very little about Apocalypse, Vampire, Werewolf the Apocalypse. I know that it's explicitly anti-capitalist. I know it's explicitly, like, green. It's for the environment. And that's fantastic. I love that message. And one of the main thing you fight is, like... Thanks, Loxy. I can also put you, like, referenced as the person who created it, and I love that. Good job, Twitch. I know that it's explicitly designed to, like, one of the largest enemies you fight is Bentex, or a massive multinational conglomeration, so that's good fun. But I've never played it. I actually haven't read Werewolf the Apocalypse from end to end. I've read The Forsaken, but to the point where I can't even do the common pitch that I do for, like, Werewolf or Bard, or not Werewolf, Vampire or Bard or fucking Changeling. I can compare the 2 Changelings because I've read them both, even if I've only played Lost, but I cannot start to tell you what the Apocalypse is like in play. I can only tell you that people like it. It's the second most popular one, that's damn sure. And generally, Requiem and Chronicles of Darkness is a better mechanical system, so we're going to see how 5th Ed Werewolf turns out. 5th Ed for Old of Darkness. Old of Darkness. It's not even inaccurate. Not even wrong, it's just inaccurate. Old of Darkness 5th Ed is like... Generally, when people are saying they don't like the system, it's because they prefer the V20 version, or the W20. The explicit takedowns are the things that are incorrect, like inefficient, don't match the themes, the mechanics, that sort of thing. The light on the ground, listen to spaces where I'm reading. A lot of the time I preferred it when it was V20. I preferred it when I was playing 2nd Ed. The older versions were better TM. And I find that less than helpful. Like, I'm not saying I want you to look at it from an objective point of view, lol. I'd love if you could give me the reasons why you don't enjoy the mechanics and the theme of what's in this book, not comparatively. Sorry, not comparatively to a version that has existed before. Comparing it to other systems, other games, great. No one's going to be free of bias, because that's not how people work. But if you could give me a rationale that feels more like it's something more than just nostalgia, then I'd appreciate it. So all of the descriptions, the examples, the hey, do you remember this? Do you remember this concept of the setting? I'm going to explain, not, I'm going to read out and not explain in the way I usually would the vampire because I don't know it, but I'll explain it out. We'll only know what's here in the text, and that's going to be a fun experience for us all. And for all already, there's no more news we want to share. The only personal news I have is I had a job interview today that I think went really fucking well. Job interview, you have a job. I have a job, and the interview is for the same organization, so like they're not even going to lose me. I'll just move to a slightly different team. I don't know. Felt great. I got excited about that potential position again. It is a shame that friend of the channel, Golem King, is also applied for that job. So if he gets it, I'll be working with him, and I'd really appreciate that. Sounds great. Several years ago, we worked at the same organization, or at least similar organizations in the same physical space, and that was quite nice. We got coffee, tossed ideas at each other all the time. It was great. Golem King had this amazing game about working in the Australian public service that's a farce and just absolutely hilarious. I've asked him to bring it to Feno a couple of times, and it's just, I don't know, it's fallen off his radar. He's not interested, so let's not nag him anymore, huh? Alright, we're delayed enough. It's nearly 15:15. If we're going to do some Book of Hungry Names, we're going to do some Book of Hungry Names. Now, just one last thing I wanted to shout out. This is by Muchava, and by... I don't remember his name. I think about it all the time. Give me my job options? What? Oh, give you job options. Yeah, not a bad idea, huh? Can I remember his name? Why can't I find it on Steam? Which is kind of silly, to be honest. Yeah. I will send jobs your way, that's for sure. I'll keep an eye out for him. Shit, I'm gonna have to look it up. Kyle Marquis. And Kyle had an excellent statement that I just wanted to shout out. I think it's really important, and it's a bit of rationalization when it comes to the way global capital is working and how it's not really fair, but we're all doing our best. Kyle, I feel bad that my game costs $15, and that makes it prohibitively expensive for many in the global south. But here in the US, the burrito dinner you eat in Book of Hungry Names costs $15. And there is a screenshot of him buying a buffalo chicken burrito that costs $15. And like, yeah, that... Yeah, man. On one hand, fuck, $15 for, like, text. It doesn't feel great when you can buy indie games that sometimes look beautiful for less. But and that's way more expensive than in USD compared to other currencies, and Steam has recently stopped converting prices. So if developers, and I don't actually know the mechanics, but if you don't physically go in and fuck around with it so that people in developing nations pay less, they just get screwed over. On the other hand, that's one fucking meal, right? One goddamn meal for, I believe it's over 170,000 words. And coding and testing and a year's worth of effort. I was proud to buy this. I was going to buy DLC for it immediately when I learned you get the DLC for free if you buy the game in its release window. And I'm excited to read it. Like, I've been looking forward to this as a novel, as a piece of fiction, ever since I learned about it. We finished Night Road. Should replay it at some point. It's just the beginning part's going to be difficult. I'm excited. I'm excited even in the extent that I get to share it with all of you. So, yeah, when Silken Prism was like, I'm unavailable tonight, I leapt at the opportunity to offer everyone, hey, what do you want? More Disney action RPG or some Werewolf? So let's do some fucking Werewolf. Werewolf the Apocalypse, The Book of Hungry Names, by Kyle Marquis. Your breath steams. You have run for hours. You don't feel tired. You haven't really felt tired since the change. Snow swirls, bitterly cold lakes affect snow that stings your eyes. The sky and ground are white, the trees across the empty meadow black where frost doesn't hang from their branches. Only one thing moves, leaving a winding trail through the trees. Your prey. You're downwind of it, though not for long, as unpredictable gusts send snow devils racing across the open terrain, and you can smell the acrid reek of steel and plastic. Your prey is close, and you know you have to prove yourself this time. Your last chance. You shake the thought away. You uncovered this threat after all. You found what eluded the others, and they permitted you to lead the hunt. As, like your spiritual ancestors ages ago, whose battles against the demons of the earth became the legends of Beowulf, Heracles, Saint Martha, you all turned your knowledge and skill to tracking down this monster, this unclean spirit, this bane. What type of werewolf are we? It's a hell of a question, right? Okay, there. Computer training, technical savvy. Nah, fuck it. Let's go kept records. Let's be a big nerd again. Your people don't keep their real secrets in books. Their lore is sung or held down the long nights. Written records do exist, not just pop occult trash about wolfsbane and hairy palms. So when you needed answers, you turned to the small, carefully curated selection of texts that you could trust. What was this unclean spirit? What monstrous urges brought it into the world? What power could it wield over unsuspecting mortals or over the defiled earth that you were tasked to protect? And what could send it shrieking back to the netherworld? You found a name in the sign of the burning hand, a torn codex bound in black vellum and translated from medieval French into Marlowe's old-fashioned English, and further answers in a nameless pile of dot matrix printouts from the early days of Usenet. You learned this spirit's habits, and here you are. And as the ice wind dies down and the snowflakes drift to the cold ground, you see your prey clearly for the first time. It's a man in white Arctic camouflage, face hidden by goggles and a fur-lined balaclava. Despite his modern assault rifle and the ruggedized tablet computer on his hip, he's mounted on a tall black horse. He's thrust what appears to be a steel lance into the snow. It whips back and forth in the cold wind. Yet, somehow, flies swarm around him in thick black clouds, droning so loudly you can hear them. You know you should focus on the moment, but your thoughts turn to everything you have learned since your first change. About the enemy. About Gaia, the living earth. You were not always what you are now. But I had terrible nightmares that hinted at the truth. Rejected by friends and family, I learned to survive on the streets and fought to control my dreadful temper. Your parents weren't really religious, but they caught the tail end of the satanic panic when they were kids back in the 90s, and they just didn't like you. They never liked you, your aggression and arrogance and how easy lies came to you. You didn't much like yourself either, so when your parents threw you out, sent you to live with your grandmother, you know what they were doing. You walked away from everything. Grandma's jewelry got you over $1,000 at various pawn shops. You used that cash to get started. You didn't know what you were doing at first, of course. You got arrested twice, but you were still a juvenile, so you were able to wiggle out of the mess. Then you got smart, focused your anger, learned to move fast and talk faster, learned who stayed bored. But when you closed your eyes, you saw teeth and blood. And when that drifter found you one night, you thought you were dead or worse. But Clay said he'd been watching you for a long time. He'd known your grandmother, he said. She was dead. You didn't care, neither did he, but he had to take you home. You knew that he had answers, knew it in your bones and your teeth, but he wouldn't say anything. Just took you back to your parents. He was stressed out, dirty, creepy, constantly looking over his shoulder, and your parents didn't even thank him. Ungrateful, unimpressed, tried to get you ready for the funeral, even though, who cares? What did Grandma ever do that was so important? And you just got so angry. Clay never really forgave you for what happened, as if it were your fault, as if he didn't have teeth on the inside, just like you. Where is Clay now? He should be here with the others, with the pack. Where is everyone? Pushing away memories of your first change, she sniffed the air and looked around. Nothing but swirling snow and the horse and rider picking their way past the dead trees. It's time to act. Clay says you've disappointed him twice before. He says he wants you to really join the pack, but not as a failure, not as a burden. Everything you've done these past few weeks has led up to the destruction of this monster. You chose this night for a reason. The same moon hangs in the sky as the night of your first change. A moon that gives you strength and focus, that defines who you are as one of Gaia's champions. The Garou. The werewolves. Now, the moon's phase determines what, like, clan or part type of werewolf. I think that's pretty cool. You know, like, they're not all full moons, they're all moons, and that changes for, you know, people who love that kind of thing. I think it's pretty appropriate. Auspice of deceit and cunning. Horned moon for the horned god of the woods, sorcery and spirits. Let's do this. Currently a bit of a nerd. Currently a bit of stealing. I think I'd love to have huge gibbous moon. A huge gibbous moon like a madman's eye. A howling moon, auspice of mad tales and wild tale tellers. The gibbous moon in the night sky seems crooked, off balance, like a zeppelin about to crash. When it skims the tree line, it looks impossibly huge, as if Earth were a moon of Jupiter. You can barely see the Milky Way as it winds across the sky from the eastern woods to the hazy red glow of Buffalo far to the west. The moon is telling you a story. What does it mean? Do stories have to mean things in order to matter? There's only one thing you need to know, even though you're just a cub. Merely destroying this bane will not be enough. You need the world to know what transpired here. The story is what turns the act into the lesson. You are Gibbous Moon, a champion, a tale teller, a legend in the making, a galliard of the Garou nation. You will destroy this monster, and then you will sing the song of your victory. The ice wind shifts, and the bane steps toward the trees, its outline breaking apart as its cloud of flies rises up. You smell the others, Clay and Scarpa and Black Tarn, but they're not here yet. And the bane might still escape into this trackless forest. But you've planned for this moment ever since you read about banes in the sigil, in the sign of the burning hand, and you've already taken on the ideal form. Hell of a choice. What form are we in now? Hermid, human shape. Glabro, the bestial near-human. Kryanos, the ultimate war form and incarnation of carnage and slaughter. Hispo, Titan Wolf, which is a large wolf. And Lupus, the actual wolf. Dodge and weave. Let's go, Titan Wolf. When it's time to kill, most werewolves favor the Kryanos war form, a 9-foot-tall walking wolf armed with huge claws and ripping teeth. But especially against a foe like this one, with a horse's speed and the threat of that long-range assault rifle, you want speed as much as you want killing power. And since you're currently a quarter-ton prehistoric wolf with jaws the size of a cave bear's, you have plenty of killing power. You creep across the frozen field, scent the air, careful not to draw the Bane's attention when it could pick you off at range or charge you in the open terrain. You never faced a cavalry charge before, never really thought that might be a problem actually, but that lance looks dangerous. The rider hesitates, shifts nervously, and then wheels around and hurls the lance. He's too slow. You dodge the flying lance and charge. The Bane shows its cowardice then, fleeing into the woods between two huge pines, but you follow, leaping over fallen logs, smashing through saplings, eyes narrowed against a cloud of flies. You feel your prey's terror as the horse gallops through the icy woods and the rider fumbles for the safety of his assault rifle, but you don't slow down even as your prey pulls out ahead. Confident that he has enough distance to make a shot, the rider wheels, aims his rifle, and doesn't have time to pull the trigger. You hit him at maybe 40 miles an hour, blast him right out of the saddle and into the trunk of an old maple. It would kill most people, but he keeps fighting, trying to bring the rifle into line. Then you sink your fangs into his chest and he screams as you wrench him back and forth. You've trained for this and you snap him left, right, 4 quick jerks, breaking his neck. You fling the body away and it skids down a slope and across a frozen river, leaving a furrow of pale snow dotted with blood and gore. You breathe deep, your breath steaming. Glance back at the trail of destruction you've left through the woods. Then you notice the horse is still standing. Well done, little wolf, the dead rider's horse says through bloody lips. Then its face splits open as its incisors lengthen and it hurls itself at you. So far everything had gone according to plan, just as you had practiced 100 times, but now you're forced to think on the fly as you confront the real threat, this mangled horse thing. You taste blood in your mouth, hear your fighting breath, and now it's for real. No mistakes. I rely on strength and cunning, disappearing into the undergrowth and then striking from the shadows. Yeah, fuck it. It's actually war form. I'm hardy enough to shapeshift into my war form before the monster reaches me and tear it apart. Garou are not creatures of mindless rage. The 5 forms require cunning to use wisely, but also great physical vigor to deploy in the middle of a battle. But you know that not even this monster can stand against a werewolf in Krynos form, letting the rage flow through you like bloody lightning. You leap, twisting through the air to avoid a scything hoof, then land on all fours and grit your teeth. Then it's like your teeth turn inside out, ripping through your jaw, piercing your brain. The pain is incandescent as your bones shatter and re-knit. Your spine transforms and you rise up on 2 legs, a 9-foot-tall walking wolf with dinner knife claws and huge hooked fangs. For a moment, you're both blinded by a shockwave of superheated steam as your accelerated metabolism reacts with the freezing air. When you can both see again, the horse thing scoffs an oddly human sound. It's not impressed, certainly not insanely terrified the way regular humans fear a werewolf in Krynos form. It rushes you, cat quick, fangs bared. You twist and drive one hand up under its jaw. Your claws explode out the back of its head, smoking with brains. You both skid backwards and your clawed feet leave a furrow of snow as the monstrous thing keeps trying to move forward, mindless and implacable. But when you both stop, you wrench your hand out of its head and it drops without a sound, already dead. You don't dare stay in this death-hungry form any longer. You scent the air, seeking other threats. Nothing. The fight is over. You tell the screaming monster you've become. Keep killing. The town isn't far. The people of the map are soft and weak. You can... No. You sink down onto all fours and return to your Titan Wolf Hispo form. You've learned to plan ahead, so in your wolf forms you always wear a pack at your hip, stuffed with emergency clothing. The pack survived your transformations, but if you turned back into a regular person, you'd probably freeze to death before you pull on your thermals and reach the speedway up the road, the one across from the local Amazon hub. You'll need to stay like this until you're within sight of the convenience store. Right now, you shake the wolf out of your thoughts and force yourself to plan and think like a person. The Bane is dead, but where are Clay and the others? You need to make a call, and you can't do that without fingers. You check your hip. The good news is that your gear kit you carry in wolf form is still there. The tightly wrapped clothes within it will let you blend back in with the human population. Of course, if you tried to change now, you'd freeze to death before you reach that speedway. A conundrum. Chapter 1. The People of the Map. Against whom shall we do battle? Where shall we direct our attack, when the very breath in our lungs is impregnated with the same injustice that haunts our thinking and holds the stars in stupefaction? Emil Kieran, I think. Shorin. I was way off. I thought it was Irish. It's not. It's also looped the one song by Ivan Duck, which is very good, but I kind of wanted it to go to the next one. We'll see if it does. Yeah. You're correct. Flies fall dead onto the snowy ground, forming a black halo around the dead horse in the shadow of an abandoned pipeline. It stretches east-west across the landscape. You did it. Clay sent you to destroy the Bane, and now both the rider and the horse thing are dead. You stand beneath Clay's greatest victory, the abandoned oil pipeline, contemplating the future. You won't be a cub anymore, but a true Garou. You'll be able to seek renown and respect to join one of the remaining tribes of the Garou Nation. You can join Clay's pack, but is that even what you want? To linger here with your miserable elders? As a true Garou, you could seek out your own pack or walk the world for a time on your own. Gaia suffers everywhere. As a monster's blood cools on the snow, you consider what you really want. Glory. To destroy the enemies of Gaia, and if it's still even possible, stop humanity's desecration of the earth and halt the apocalypse. The Garou are Gaia's fangs, made to fight the Wyrm, the cosmic energy, the principle of rot and ruin. The Wyrm spreads through the spirit world with its army of banes and unclean spirits and slowly kills the living earth through pollution and extraction. Before your first change, Clay's pack slaughtered the Banes and mercenaries that guarded the empty pipeline that rises over the winter woods, but now they're paralyzed by despair, convinced that the apocalypse has come and gone, that Gaia is dead and the appearance of life is only the quiver of dead nerves. You turn the possibility over in your mind. Is there still a chance to save this ravaged world? If so, what weapons can the Garou wield if rage has failed? As you consider what glory might look like in this fallen age, a strange smell draws your attention. It's the dead horse in the snow. Sometimes Fomori, that's the name you learn for when a Bane possesses a more personal animal, sometimes Fomori rot quickly after death, consumed by the putrescence of the Wyrm. Other times, Clay's packmate Scarpa has to roll the corpse up in a rug and take it to a pig farm his ex-girlfriend owns. That's always a hassle. But though this horse's fanged teeth have disappeared and now it looks like an ordinary dead horse, the flesh smells sweet and strong, as if it still held some power within it. The litany, the laws of your people, tell you not to eat the flesh of humans. This monster was never human, but still you hesitate. Yeah, Marvel has been letting out some amazing dog farts today and yesterday. I don't want meat. I want information. If there are more of these creatures, they might attack the communities nearby. I study the dead rider for clues that will help me protect my people. You conduct a quick search of the horse thing's tack, but you're no equestrian, and it's hard to find anything useful among the fast-freezing pink gore. So it's time to check the man. You move carefully among the black trees, and with the moonlight so bright it's easy to trace your trail to the dead man who stinks of his own bowels. Despite the stink, the flies are all dead. You gingerly inspect the rider's equipment. The ruggedized tablet is a sticky nightmare, and it doesn't turn on. You set it aside and inspect the rest of his gear. A knife, the USMC K-bar, favored by paramilitary geeks all over the US. Snow goggles look military grade too, and Snowhawk is etched across the top. That balaclava, the throat. Someone just slit this man's throat. You didn't do that. Why do I have to do your work? A voice says behind you. One of Clay's pack, your fellow galliard, Scarpa. He flicks a knife back and forth in front of your face. Two other Guru lurk in the darkness nearby, nothing but wolf-shaped shadows. Put that knife away and help me search the body. If we can learn who this rider was, we can learn where he came from. You carefully shape the words of the primal tongue, the ancient language of the Guru, which you learned almost instinctively after your first change, as you cannot speak human language in your wolf forms. Scarpa howls with laughter. What are you going to do, pup? Look for clues? Oh shit, this man smokes the same tobacco as the colonel we met at Lady Darlington's tea party. Don't you know what that means? You fucking idiot. You don't know what you're doing. That's why I had to finish the job. Why didn't you, Miss Marple? Didn't have the guts? From what I know of Banes, killing the host body might not be enough. Should we look for signs that it escaped into the spirit world? Clay and Scarpa seem to think that's funny. But Black Tarn's mad eyes grow momentarily lucid and afraid. What she taught you matches what you read in the Sign of the Burning Hand. Banes are spirits. They require host bodies, but destroying the defiled human or animal body, what werewolves call the Fomor, often only sends the Black Bane back into the spirit world. But as Black Tarn starts to say something, Clay spits out a chunk of the horse meat he's eating and snaps. What do you care about the details, pup? You didn't even kill the Bane. Scarpa did. To emphasize his packmate's words, Scarpa gestures with his knife across his hairy throat. You sputter. Where to begin? The Bane wasn't the horse, not the man. The man was already dead. You're sure you killed him. You finished them both without help, even though the others were supposed to back you up. We're supposed to... What would be the point of arguing? You look from Clay's blood-smeared face to Scarpa's gleeful smirk to Black Tarn's hair hard, mad glare. You know that you will find neither mercy nor fairness here. You could almost choke on your rage. The litany is a collection of rules and punishments without sense or reason, wielded by the powerful out of spite. You will win no arguments here, nor find any glory among these sad old wolves. Go back to the van, Scarpa tells you. Get yourself cleaned up. You look like shit. We're going to have to clean up your mess. He flings the keys at you, and you drop them in the darkness. You dig them out of the snow and pick them up in your teeth. Scarpa and Black Tarn chuckle as you fumble around, while Clay returns to feeding on the horse thing. Keys held securely in your mouth, you pad through the snow under the dead winter trees for maybe 10 minutes. In the silence and darkness, you forget about Clay, the Bane, and the old pipeline as you pass through a twilight world of shifting shadows and gusting snow. The world as it was 10,000 years ago. Then you suddenly spill back out into the regular world as if stepping onto a rectangular map laid out on a table. Trucks rumble down a country road, human silhouettes pass under fluorescent lights. A smell of diesel and fast food. One step takes you from the desolate wilderness into what passes for the northern New York civilization, a loading bay behind an Amazon fulfillment center. It's past midnight and traffic on the nearby road is infrequent, so you lope easily across the street, careful to avoid cameras until you spot Clay's rusted out Chevy Astro. You stop in front of the Speedway's big glass windows because you don't see yourself like this often. A titanic wolf, your bulk prehistorical and monstrous, with enormous canines and bright clear eyes, intelligent eyes, and the relative darkness of the parking lot. You can't even see any blood on your fur, which is blue-gray. Strange color, distinctly unnatural looking under these flat artificial lights that you blend into the wilds. Clay once said your coloration is a mark of the Weaver, the great machine spirit, but you're not sure if you believe him. But it's folly to stand here waiting for someone to walk past and notice the pony-sized blue-grey wolf with car keys in its mouth. You slink back into the shadows and force yourself to regain your homeward form. The change to your natural form is easier than the others. The most painful part is when the freezing cold hits your naked body. You scramble into the van and get dressed, grabbing some spare sneakers from under the seat to replace your obliterated boots. Then you just sit there. What are you supposed to do? Cry? Scream in rage? Accept your fate as a permanent cub in a 3-guru pack where the youngest member is 53 and they all think the world already ended? Nothing wrong with a good cry. Gonna do that for a few minutes. The bitter absurdity of your situation is not lost on you. Even as a kid, you knew you were weird. You half expected some wonderful revelation that would make sense of everything. You got it a few years ago, and your life has been a nightmare of pain and rage ever since. For a while, you keep your thoughts contemplative and philosophical, so you don't even know when exactly you start crying. When a Honda truck parks next to the van, you realize that your face is wet. You find a mostly empty travel pack of Kleenex and Clay's old army jacket, and clean yourself up as best you can, and catch yourself in the rearview mirror. You'll never be one of them. One of the people of the map. Your face is streaked with tears and mud, your hair dark with blood. You're a haunted, wretched-looking young woman. You look like a bag lady, shapeless and ragged in the dirty parka and the torn black fleece covered in stains. You run your hands through your hair, the twisted up hair, chewed down fingernails. You study the fingernails next to your red-rimmed eyes. Too many nights like this. At least Clay isn't weird about girls. Clay's a bastard, but he likes to play act a certain kind of courtesy around ladies. It's annoying, but better than the alternative. You finish cleaning yourself up, then glance in the other side view mirror and catch movement on the far side of the parking lot where the semis are parked. Black Tarn darts between two trucks, still in the form of a huge wolf. She freezes, bewildered, as if she's never seen a parking lot before, never seen the normal world of signs and maps. Then Scarpa appears, dragging what at first looks like a huge black plastic trash bag with someone in it. Did they bag another monster? But then you recognize the screams and growls coming from the thing Scarpa is dragging. It's Clay. A moment later, you realize it's not a trash bag at all. It's Clay's flesh, shifting and something sloughing off, leaving a trail of black filth between the semis. The Bane fight felt slowed down, as if it took hours, but now everything was happening too fast. Black Tarn is in the middle of the parking lot near the diesel pumps, howling as if she can summon all the spirits of northern New York. Scarpa, 7 foot tall and shaggy, still in his near-human form, keeps trying to drag or carry Clay, and Clay is a nightmare, a tangle of shifting flesh, black as oil except for occasional white glimpses of bone or teeth. Where is his blood? You hop out of the van and scan the parking lot. Someone is going to see Black Tarn. In fact, a truck driver is slip-sliding through the snow around the cab now. And if he gets near her, you fear what she'll do. She's already walked under a camera pointed at the pumps, and the other two will be there in a moment. A huge dog recorded on camera is bad enough, but what if someone sees Clay? And what happened to Clay? Can you help him? Should you? As you watch the now familiar face of Uncle Clay burst out of the black tangle, expression twisted in a rictus of agony. You finally see blood around his lips. Maybe eating the horse was a bad idea. Sloth? Hmm. Yeah, exactly, Clay. What the fuck, man? Anyway, Vandal's in charge. You don't have a full soda can, which would be perfect, but after looking around for a moment, you find an old metal valve someone left next to the propane canisters. It's lighter than you'd like, but you toss it in the air once, testing its weight. You'll have to do. You test the valve's weight one last time and throw. It hits the target, but the camera barely moves. Cursing, you look around for something else to throw, but by then it's too late. Scarpa runs across the parking lot, dragging Clay. A scream. Black Tarn, still in the shape of a huge wolf, rips the trucker's throat out. You step their way, but it's hopeless. The man is either already dead or he'll bleed out in under a minute. Fucking move! Scarpa shouts at you as you make sure they have a clear path to the back of the van. He turns and shouts, BT, come on, we need shit. Scarpa stares open mouthed at the mangled corpse of the trucker. Black Tarn shifts into a homid form over the steaming corpse, and then runs, naked and blood-smeared, through the view of the camera, and jumps into the back with Clay. Keys, Scarpa mutters. You toss him the keys and run for the passenger seat, barely getting in before the van screams out of the parking lot. I want to stop for breakfast. I'm buying if it's not horse. My elders are idiots, and I'm enjoying this as I plan my way out of here. I'm buying! Scarpa yells, a crude impression of your voice. His heart isn't in it. Maybe he agrees with you that Clay messed up. Maybe he's just exhausted. You watch him from the corner of your eye as he slowly deflates, returning to his scrawny, homid form. It's a frantic 10-minute drive to the auto recycling center where some corrugated fencing and an old trailers mark the home of northern New York's greatest champions of Gaia. Blackened chunk of the pipeline hangs like a trophy over the main gate. The garage door opener in the van isn't working again, and Scarpa starts screaming and ripping at the steering wheel until you hop out of the van and throw the door open manually. Scarpa almost clips you as he guns the engine and the rusty yellow van lurches into the garage. He stumbles out of the driver's side door, swearing about the snow around the garage door that you didn't shovel. I'm okay, is the first thing Clay says when you throw open the back of the van. Don't worry, it's fine. It's not fine. So the old werewolf has returned to his homid form. That's all four of me now. His face is streaked with black veins, and his teeth are bloody. A grey film covers his eyes. I told you not to eat, Black Tarn tells the old man. Rhyme with either blue or cow. Slow. Slow. Slew. What the fuck? The first share of the kill for the greatest in station, Clay whispers. Maybe the part of the litany made sense 1,000 years ago. Clay tries to spit at Black Tarn, but only vomits blood. What do we do? Scarpa whispers, on the verge of panic. Watch him, Black Tarn says. Her eyes are clear, her voice firm, her madness is past, and she's in the Pack Theurge again, mistress of spirits and secrets. You, Cobb, come with me. She heads into the breezeway, stumbling over old phone books you're not allowed to throw out, and hastily dress in cast-off clothes. And make sure she's wearing boots. I want the spirits to tell you what happened to Clay. It was that flesh he ate. A violation of the litany's spirit, if not its letter. Correlation is not causation, Black Tarn says. You don't expect that sort of clear-headed analysis from a crazy old Theurge, do you? Think of this ruined world as a spiderweb smeared in shit. Touch any part of the web and the whole thing vibrates, but also shit flies everywhere. Cause and effect are trickier to discover than you think, Cub. But maybe we can learn something. You follow her from the breezeway into the cluttered and filthy living area. Old sofa, wood-panelled walls, the smell of wet animals. Through Black Tarn's kitchen with its dried, hanging herbs. Sage, parsley, others that don't go in food and don't have names. That's overflowing trash can. You've been focused on that bane and haven't cleaned all week, which means nothing has been cleaned. Black Tarn kicks some cardboard boxes out of the way and opens the cracked storm door that leads into the garden. Do not fucking leave, Scarpa shouts from the other room. We have 2 crime scenes to clean up. The Black Tarn yanks you outside. Even under a blanket of snow, the garden is beautiful. Stark blue-white under the starlight, as the moon set an hour ago, shaded by 3 old and gnarled apple trees. Low stone walls wind around the garden, also snow-covered, a gentle and natural counterpoint to the hard, ugly lines of the recycling centre turned lair. The air here even feels warmer, and though you're covered in blood, you feel pure here. A crystal clear stalactite spills from the gnarled limb of an apple tree all the way to the ground. When you catch your ghastly reflection in it, you know enough to fear what Black Tarn plans. Come, little cub, we must learn more. We must enter the Umbra, the world of spirits, and there is no time to delay. The Umbra. The spirit shadow cast by the living earth, once a place for Garou to heal, seek enlightenment, if you believe Scarpa, ambush enemies from the 4th dimension. Now it is nearly inaccessible. You always had a spiritual side as a kid, which might be why you never thought, maybe I'm a werewolf, until your first change. Werewolf stories are always about flesh and rage and madness, and though you've had plenty of that, you never knew that real werewolves were servants of the spirit world, seekers of enlightenment, scholars of ancient mysteries. The spirit of my pack has been asleep for a long time, Black Tarn says, her voice tired. The spirits sleep because they are too weak to act, but we may be able to awaken them for a time. They alone can help play. You start to contemplate how much that matters to you. Then Black Tarn squeezes your wrist hard enough to bruise. Tell them who you are, cub, she says. You are no true Garou yet, and have no deed name. You hope the spirits will react to either the first name on your New York State ID, or the names your normal friends called you back when you had normal friends. Because you don't have anything else. It's Morgan. It's no Black Tarn. Even clay is really Eyes of Clay, a deed name earned for brave deeds before your parents were born. But the old Theurge waves you toward the apple tree and you say your name. Then again, louder. The air feels thin, your vision sparkles. Good, Black Tarn says. She laughs, then howls. They hear us, Morgan. The spirit of this place hears us. Now follow, if you can. She stares at her reflection, then she's gone. The icicle cracks and spills onto the ground, and for a moment you see 1,000 Black Tarns reflected in their facets as she disappears into the Umbra. But you remain where you are. Black Tarn told you only that the spirit world was now so toxic that only the greatest Theurges could enter on their own, and you're an untried Galliard. But every werewolf must enter the Umbra and face the horrors and challenges there to become a true Garou. Why wait any longer? You're strong now. Who cares if Clay will not acknowledge your victory? The spirits must. Black Tarn has spoken about occult patterns in the land. I think back to her lessons. Where did she say she was? Was another thin point around here? Black Tarn never seemed to want to share her secrets. Even the law all werewolves must know. But you have listened to her mystical ramblings over the years. You need to think your way through this, to remember Black Tarn's words. Almost never to you, but to Clay or Scarpa or the empty air. Once Garou could enter the Umbra as easily as taking a breath, but now it requires rites or gifts or the blessing of a powerful spirit. Black Tarn taught you no rites, you wield no gifts, and Beaver is asleep. But you could cobble something together in your desperate need. But could you cobble something together in your desperate need? You remember her telling you about her umbral rite. She used a reflective surface to focus her will. Probably not the van's foggy mirror, but there are rivers beyond the garden. You start to walk, following a faint thinness in the air. A sign of Black Tarn's passage. What does Scarpa call entering the Umbra? Stepping sideways, Black Tarn always sneered at the term. Stepping sideways. Black Tarn always sneered at the term. Flippant, she said, but as you walk into the woods, you find yourself beside a narrow frozen river. No snow covers it, and the reflected stars shine in its depths. You move laterally along the bank, something huge comes into view, blotting out the stars. Beaver, the spirit of this place, visible among the pale stars, the glittering ice. Beaver floats in slumber, tumbling slowly like a civilization-ending asteroid, rhymed with frost and glittering with starlight. Trails wind through the frozen river made of stars or spirits or ice. A canine shape slips along with them. A flickering black shadow then disappears. Your fingers touch the ice. You're off the map now, close to the Umbra, but not there yet. Alright, let's wake the beaver. Use our fist to wake that beaver up. Beaver, wake up. I pound the ice. I need him to help me enter the Umbra, and I can't awaken him with the proper rites because I don't know them. You shout and roar, and your fist sinks into the ice, making it splash and ripple in the exact way ice normally doesn't. Beaver shifts in his dreams, paddle tail twitching. Your frustration is reaching him. Even in dreams, he must know how important this is. One final blow cracks the ice wide enough that you can fit through. You reach a hand in and feel the cold stars of the Umbra on the other side. The way is open, and you prepare to step through. As the wind howls and the wall between the worlds starts to come down, Black Tarn appears as an occulting of the frozen stars. She drifts towards you, half wolf and half woman, eyes like galaxies, a clawed hand reaching for you. But you can see her in a struggle. And as the barriers fade and she floats within reach, her expression grows vague again in a way you recognize, then hard, then cruel. Stupid cub, she says, her voice wild and mad. Let it end here. No more ambitious little pups. No more footprints in the snow. Leave us alone. And she brings her fist down on the wall from the other side. It shatters and collapses, blasting you with ice and grit. When you can see again, the river ice is cracked and frozen and the way is shut. Awoo! The spirit world retreats like it was never there. The enchantment bleeding out of the world as the gibbous moon disappears over the western horizon, as if the moon has dissolved in the light pollution of Buffalo. From somewhere, the angry blat 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 of a truck's air brakes. You are terribly cold. But did you think you could smash your way into the Umbra? You a guru after everything you've done. You still think rage can help you? Who said that? Who thought that? Your head swims. Don't you know who you are? Where you begin and end? Perhaps you don't have any clarity of will. At least not yet. Sitting on a crumbling brick wall is a little grey house cat. That's right. Here I am. Well, here is a body, a bit scrawny, sick guy fear, one last moment of glory before the end. Kitty! Yeah, but they won't. It's kind of mages in a nutshell. They can help. Definitely won't. I don't think your companion wants anyone following her, and I doubt she can save herself or eyes of clay. If you want to help him, you'll have to do it yourself. I don't think cats and wolves got along. Are you a cat or like a metaphor for cats? Maybe you're the metaphor. You've thought of that. The Umbra is the shadow of Gaia, but the physical world you occupy is just an echo of what she is. Neither of us see the real thing. What would happen if we did? You reach out, understanding, finally grasping the true nature of the threat that, wait, no, you are straining because I am making you strain. But I no longer have the strength I once did, and can no longer write my desires into the book of the world. I cannot make you what you need to be. I cannot make you see the truth. But maybe we can get a little closer to the truth right now. And if nothing else, someone needs to clean up that mess in the woods behind the speedway. That's a good point. Of course it is. I thought of it. A storm-colored cat hops off the brick wall and starts cutting through the woods. shake off the snow covering you and stamp your feet. The spirit turns and beckons for you to hurry. She looks tired and thin with patches of missing fur and blood on her paw pads. No, do I really look like that? Great Gaia, you're right. Once I shamed the sphinxes, haunted the dreams of tigers. And you don't have any chances left. You failed twice tonight. First when you failed to kill the rider, then when you let Black Tarn kill the traveler. What will they do if you fail a third time tonight? If you can't learn something to help your wounded packmate. I know. That's bullshit, Cat. I killed the Bane, and I did my best at the Speedway. Well, yes, obviously, but I can't write that truth into anyone's heart. Not anymore. This body isn't slowing down, you'll notice. Please keep pace. You see, while I concern myself with what really is, your people see reality only dimly. And what they see, they want, and they see what they want to see. You're going to see you fail again, Morgan. But let's actually think about how to fix this problem. I sprint through the woods on delicate feet, leaving sad red tracks widely spaced, and then stop on a fallen pine and turn as you hurry to catch up. I look quite elegant, neck long and sleek, eyes shining. Great Gaia, I am magnificent, not a ragged skin puppet at all. So let's review what we know. We are at least reasonably confident that the clay ate tainted flesh. The flesh, you recall, was quite tempting. Can we learn anything from that? What about the accoutrements of the horse and rider? You checked them already, but couldn't activate the tablet. Is there anything there that can tell us about what happened to Eyes of Clay? You see that I've led you through the woods back to the site of your battle. The horse is still there, its remaining guts strewn all over the snow, already frozen. A faint howl drifts through the air. Black Tarn? You can't be sure. And if I know, I'm not saying. Just because they're into it doesn't mean, like, they won't take advantage of that fact. Again, I don't think you trust mages. I think they're absolutely up to mischief. Sometimes in a very fun way, though. What about that weird lance the rider had? I've never seen anything like that. You approach the spot where the rider fell. The lance still sticks out of the snow, about 5 yards from the horseman's corpse. It'll blaze like a torch when the sun rises, but now it's just a grey shaft against the blackness of tree trunks. You wipe some of the snow away, revealing markings. Wait, no, numbers. Sorry, I'm not good with numbers. I'll let you handle this. A serial number. I wonder if this thing is some kind of worm artifact, but it's not made of silver. It doesn't bear any strange glyphs. And it's rather fragile. You're not even sure it's supposed to be a weapon, some kind of tool. Actually, hold on. I bet you could write down those symbols, those numbers, and maybe go through this dead man's pockets and use your clever little human machines to track down where this lance comes from. That could give you a lot of information. People love information, even your people. Go back to your pack with a little notebook full of addresses, and you'd make some friends. That would require an internet connection, a library, which opens in a few hours, and some brains to conduct the necessary research. The horse saddle wasn't made of monster skin. The horse had a normal-looking saddle. Could we figure out who made it? Examine the horse thing. Dead. By now partly frozen. Blood is everywhere. Its entrails have been eaten and blood stains the snow, but that saddle looks like an ordinary leather saddle. You don't see any Garu glyphs or anything explicitly supernatural. Maybe you could just grab the whole saddle and look for identifying marks. Your thoughts? No, mine. I'm talking again, just talking though, making conversation, nothing more. And if you find something to identify the marks, then you can do an old-fashioned detective work in town. Ask around, see who knows anything. You can start a serious investigation after sunrise. Assuming the investigation is a real thing, like can you actually hit the pavement and ask people questions who lead to more people who you can ask more questions to, or is that just what happens on detective shows? What about Black Tarn? She can end up lost in the Umbra forever if we can't help her. But is she really your responsibility? Not your thoughts, mine again. But seriously, would you want her to be your responsibility? Do you want to join Clay's pack as watches the mad woman? She has not closed the spirit door all the way, which means you might be able to find her, but leading her back to safety would require great patience to encourage her back out of the brambles of her madness and then pull her again into this world. I'm not gonna grab the cat, that's so mean. Alright, let's grab the lance and go to the library. We need to understand the big picture. What sort of threat we're facing. I grab the lance and go to the library to conduct research online. Grab the lance and lean in against the tree, then search the bodies, pushing past frozen, sticky clots of blood to find the horseman's wallet and his Arctic camo jacket. When you're done, you look around for the cat. Gone. There's a little sizzle in your brain as your thoughts settle back into their accustomed shape. But don't worry, I'll be keeping an eye on you, cub. So you grab the lance and trudge into town. You flip through the dead man's wallet as you walk, but there's no ID, only $140 in cash and a receipt from Beniki Gunworks in some place called Northampton. You pass an overflowing dumpster outside a gym and notice some old Christmas wrapping paper. You memorize the number on the lance and use the wrapping paper to conceal what you're carrying. It's sunrise by the time you reach a little public library. You sit at the nearest desktop computer and start inputting every name and number you've discovered. Don't turn up much about the lance. The only matching partial serial number points to a Taiwanese aquarium light manufacturer. And even if you had a phone with a camera, you doubted if a reverse image search would turn up anything useful for a 7-foot metal pole. You do, however, manage to learn that Beniki Gunworks closed recently. There's no information on why, and a camera van hasn't driven down that street for you to conduct a drive-by on Google Maps. But you have an address and the lance itself. Maybe it's time to abandon computer searches and ask Scarpa what he knows about the area. He's a smart guy when it comes to thinking clearly, and weird, possibly magic lance plus more Northampton might shake something out of his brain. And drawing some looks at the library, probably because you look worse than the average bum right now, and you're carrying a 7-foot Christmas present. You need a shower and something to eat. You step outside and look for a place to spend some of the dead man's money on breakfast, then a new parka. You're just stepping out of the library, wondering if you should spend some of your newfound riches on boots to replace his ratty sneakers, when a familiar yellow van screams to a halt in the brick turnaround. Scarpa bounces off a curb and shouts, "Where the fuck have you been? Why didn't you call?" Out the half-open window, a few people turn and stare. You start to explain. Scarpa mocks, perfectly mimicking your tone of voice, and yet adding a tone of absurdity to it. I'm so sick of your voice. From what I know of Baines, killing the host body might not be enough. You scowl at your words coming from Scarpa's mouth. Trying to learn where the rider's lance came from. All I got was a town name from a firearms store. Not feeling good about my prospects. The what? Scarpa asks. Maybe Scarpa never saw the lance while he was soaring through the dead man's neck. The lance the horseman carried, you say. All I know so far, you were supposed to figure out how to help. Oi! Scarpa yells. You already let Black Tom kill that trucker, which I'm going to be dealing with for weeks, and you've been dicking around with a spear? You could not be more useless. Get in the damn van. We need to start fixing everything you did last night. Scarpa getting so mad that he wolfs out where people can see. And get in. Scarpa drives an angry silence, so annoyed to be stuck behind a school bus that he doesn't even yell at you or do more impressions. You cradle the lance, which barely fits in the back. The van lurches to a rattling halt outside the recycling center. Clay wants to talk with you, Scarpa says, his voice carefully composed. Where is that girl? You know how he is. A momentary flawless impression of Clay's raspy voice, offered without enthusiasm or sardonic humor. Scarpa's eyes are red-rimmed, his skin grey and drooping. He's in his 50s but looks 70 right now. The Galliard doesn't move from the driver's seat or try to roll the van into the garage, so you drop down into the snow and head for the main door. It's still half open, letting the cold in. When you glance back at Scarpa, he's banging on the steering wheel. What happened, man? He asks no one. We ruled these lands. We were kings. We were fucking kings. He's weeping as you head inside and yank on the door until it latches. You can't remember the last time you ate, so the first thing you do is head into Black Tarn's filthy kitchen to make yourself a peanut butter sandwich. And some old pepperoni too. But when you consider making some tea, you hear Clay groaning. They put him in your room, you realize as you wipe the crumbs off your hands and cautiously approach. There's nothing left of your bedroom except the werewolf. Everything else has been destroyed. So, Clay, you're a trash bag full of pudding. Did it feel good to wreck my stuff? You pick your way over your shredded computer, your ruined books dissolved into pulp and putrescence, and your torn apart, pissed on clothes to stand over Clay. I'm not the one who pees when he's mad, Clay wheezes. Blame Scarpa. Pack leader sprawls monstrously across your bed. He looks half like a Garou in Krenos war form, half like a marshmallow dropped in a campfire. His face is mostly intact, muzzle glistening wetly with blood and filth, but his lower body is a nightmare of corruption, especially his bowels, which have swollen monstrously. Your cereal bowl rests beside the bed, full of cigarette butts, and the air is hazy with tobacco smoke. Your green backpack, normally stored carefully beside the bed, is gone. Either it dissolved, or Scarpa took it again. What have you found to fix this, girl? Clay says. Black blood dribbles down his hairy chin. You and Scarpa just wrecked everything I own, you assholes. And you're still begging for my help? You owe me, you little shit. I've given you everything you've ever had, ever since you murdered your parents. Do you remember that? No, you don't. And everything you've done since then has been just as worthless. Look at me. What have you done for me? Nothing, you useless shit. Your mother was right about that. You, even before you... He starts coughing. And he doesn't stop, even as his intestines swell more and more, leaking sticky white pus over your bed sheets. Scarpa crashes into the room, red-eyed and bloody-fingered. What did you do to him? He's just whining, you say, disgusted by the writhing mass of wolf flesh. Shut up and move, Scarpa screams, grabbing your lance and slamming it into the wall beside Clay, bending it beyond usefulness. He stares down at the Afrin, but he's no healer, and who knows where Black Tarn is. She can't help, Clay roars as his muzzle rots, exposing yellow bone. She never helps. The old werewolf's flesh boils, and he thrashes, overturning the bowl full of cigarette butts and splattering ash on the carpet. Then he closes his eyes and slumps down into unconsciousness, wheezing pathetically. Get the fuck out! Scarpa yells at you, shoving you out of your own room. You stumble through the trash-strewn hallway that connects your room to the living room and the kitchen. You can see the yellow van through the dusty horizontal blinds above the faded sofa. An Erie County Sheriff's Office police SUV is parked next to it. Maybe someone traced the dead trucker here, or found evidence of a dozen other things that Clay's pack has done over the years. Two cops get out of the SUV, stomp their boots in the snow, look around. One points out the van, but they're not in any rush. It's time for you to go. Wait, your thoughts? No, it's me again. The Stormcat, your friend from the Cairn, east of here. The Stormcat sits on the dirty sofa, paws folded daintily. Over bangs and shouts from your bedroom, I remind you, there is nothing for you here, and I think you know where to go. What's waiting for me there? I need a spirit's wisdom. The wheel is turning, cub, but it's all rusted and jammed. The smell of burning metal, a scream of falling machinery, a failing machinery. That's what awaits you. That's our world now. I close my shining blue eyes, open them slowly. The air smells like ozone. I'm trying to change things, Morgan. I just don't think that it will work. Have you ever imagined what it's like to see what's coming and know that you can't change it? I've done this 1,000 times, and it never works. But here we are again. My only hope is to follow the clues I've found. Clay can't help me anymore. He can't even help himself. I'll see you at the gun store, Cat. Maybe that's a flak vest in your size. I used to be bigger. You should get going, but... And grab a fanny pack, because you can't see a black backpack anymore. 1 sec. I'm out of practice. Talking for an hour and 15 minutes and I can feel the strain. And grab a fanny pack because you can't see your green backpack anywhere. Back through the trash-strewn hall, past Scarpa screaming for Clay to be quiet, and Clay screaming in mindless pain. Out the busted screen door, into Black Tarn's frozen garden. A sudden bang, and you jump. Gunshots? No, a peal of thunder overhead in a white sky. When you look up, lightning crawls slowly across the pale heavens, passing from west to east, then over the horizon. You know the woods behind the recycling center, and though you have no problem avoiding the cops, you have to stay in town and risk exposure a little while longer because you need one more thing before you leave. Clothes. Your old parka is ragged and filthy, your gloves more duct tape than leather. You head to the pharmacy you don't normally use, buy a loofah with soap already in it, and a pack of new white t-shirts and thick wool socks. Then you lock the store's bathroom and clean yourself up in the sink. There's a lot of dried blood, but you scrape it off and dump everything in the trash can. The fleece and parka go too, they're beyond saving. It means you have to hurry down the street, arms crossed, to the cheap consignment shop. It's cold in here too, a cold not helped by the ugly glare of the woman behind the counter. She looks like she's biding her time, picking out a really good slur to call you. But you have money now to buy clean clothes. Good ones. Not so expensive that you can't afford to explode out of them in a burst of rage. But not the dirty, sweat-smelling cast-off black tarn used to toss your way. You look for something that will get you out of town without problems. And after searching the racks and making sure you have enough money for necessary cold weather clothing, you pick out a pretty dress. Pretty floral dress. Cute. And also I can change without ruining. Life hack. Dress like a mummy blocker to shapeshift quickly without paying extra for clothes. You need to be practical about pinching these pennies because werewolves don't have office jobs and your life is a violent one full of spraying arterial blood and shuddering flesh. After grabbing some undergarments, 2 dresses go in your basket, followed by a tall pair of winter boots, a fleece jacket for layering, wool gloves, and a long green parka. Oversized, with big toggles, and machine washable. That's important too. The clerk glares at you the whole time. The people of the map will never trust you. Ignoring those hard, cold eyes, you also buy a lighter, some maps, a roll of toilet paper, and some plastic baggies in case the snow turns to rain. Then you pay and get dressed. Okay, now you won't draw so much attention, but you're faced with so many possibilities now that you barely know what to do. If you really want to fight the enemies of Gaia, they're coming from the east. But from where exactly? A defiled place of power? The question is how to get there. You've got enough money to take a bus across the state line. That's safe and reliable and warm. Or you could try hitchhiking. That's risky, but you'd save money. Or you could change. In wolf form, you could run and hunt during the day, seek shelter at night. That would be glorious, assuming you didn't freeze at night. I pay attention as I hitchhike the whole way there, watching for signs of weird or dangerous behavior. Achievement, Top Hat and Tails. Get out of your hometown uninjured and with more than $20. Nice! 0.1% of players have this achievement. You fucking kidding me? That's so good. Learning to read people is an important skill for a werewolf. The rage sets people on edge, makes them hard to predict. Unpredictable. In unpredictable ways, Clay said in one of his more poetic moments. And it's true. You're not exactly scared of getting mugged or beaten up. When push comes to shove, you can always bite. But you don't want to draw unwelcome attention. You'll have to stay alert. Hiccups. You scan the streets, letting a few people go by without getting in, taking in a few short jaunts just to get a feel for people here as they move east. And you flag down a local delivery driver going your way. He's chill, and he takes you all the way to Rochester. That night, you meet a granddad in a beat-up old Volvo who has serial killer glasses, but no other serial killer vibes. He takes you east until he reaches his grandson's house in Syracuse. One guy after that gets really aggressive, demanding a blowjob for a trip to Albany once you're in his pickup. Tell him to fuck off and he takes you anyway, but the drive is tense, and he drops you off in the middle of nowhere. Still, you're making good time, so you snag another ride before you get too cold. And then another. You're feeling okay, despite your exhaustion. You let your mind wander just a little as headlights streak across your vision and the miles count down. You think about the tribes. Clay said that soon after you became a true Garou, you'd start to hear the calls of the patron spirits to watch over what's left of the Garou nation. A mere cub can't join a tribe, but you've thought about each of them over the years. You think about, wow, there are a lot of them. Political factions. Remember how Vampire has 3? Sorry, Old Vampire has 3? Would you like to be Camarilla, Sabat, or Anarch? That's it. Good luck. Look at all these. This is traditionally why I like a lot of political choices and factions. They're interesting. To me, it's not just how do you organize, but like what do you do with the power or the situation you're in. It's your philosophy on it. That's how we did it for the Bard factions. That's just an easy way to think about it, really. You think about the Black Furies, wolves who guard the weak against those who would prey on the vulnerable. The Bone Gnawers, a tribe of survivors and secret hunters mistrusted by other Garou for their abilities to survive anywhere, even in the urban wastelands of major cities. The Children of Gaia, who seek harmony and reconciliation, only shredding through flesh and bone when no other choice is available. The Heart Wardens, a tribe of laughing warrior poets dedicated to the untamed beauty and grandeur of the natural world. The Glass Walkers, the future techno shamans and corporate raiders who pit the Weaver, the cosmic principle of order and machinery, against the depravity of the worm. The Shadow Lords, ruthless and pragmatic, as hard and cold as the mountain peaks, the only werewolves with the courage to make the hard decisions and the brains to carry them out. And the Silver Fangs, queens of the Garou nation, once fallen to lethargy and madness, now looking for new blood. Skogla. I want urban wastelands and major cities because that sounds pretty cool. Yeah, let's do that then. The Bone Gnawers. Tribe of Survivors. Yeah. Ah, yes. The Scum. Looked down on by other tribes, the Bone Gnawers are nonetheless the most numerous of the Garou nation because they understand what the world really looks like. Not trapped in the past, not bound by traditions, the Bone Gnawers have adapted and transformed even as mortals have reshaped the world. They survive because they know how to learn what no one else knows, because Rat, their patron spirit, watches over them. Scarpa is a bone gnawer, and while you've seen his visible degeneration over the past few years, it's represented by the slow accumulation of trash and filth at the recycling center where you lived, you remember him in strength. Shortly after your first change, Scarpa was smart and organized. He knew every cop and crook in town, heard every rumor as soon as it passed someone's lips, looked for trouble online and in the streets. That's what a bone gnawer should be. Smart, practical, living in the real world, not in the dreams of an imagined past. On and on it goes, scanning people for signs of criminal intent, constantly alert. It's exhausting because you don't want to sleep and, hey, kid, wake up. You're still riding with the trans woman going in for top surgery, right? The one with the Tahoe? Yeah, you're still in her truck, and she said she was heading to, this is Northampton, end of the line. You awaken with a faint snarl that you carefully control so you don't terrify the driver. Your spiritual energy is waxing strong again, but that's the end of the line. You clamber out of the Tahoe and the cold air hits you. You turn back and the woman gives you one last smile. And you see yourself reflected in the window. Your first reaction is that you look like hell. Who would ever pick you up? A kind soul, maybe. Or a bored one. As the woman rolls away and the cold closes in, you contemplate the strange and frequently challenging intersections of your human ethnicity, your Garu nature, and what remains of the tribes. Garu tribes are not human families. Black Tarn said that the tribes were like religions, in the confusing sense that sometimes you choose your gods and sometimes they choose you. To Clay, each tribe was a yearning so strong that it took on a spiritual form in the shape of a mighty patron spirit that represented its values. And to Scarpa, the Garou tribes were nothing more than street gangs fighting over turf as an enemy army set up its artillery. But most humans don't care about your gods, your desires, or your tags. They see another human and they see skin deep, so you can't help but think about who you are to them and what that means to you. That's cool as hell. I like it. Good choices. That's awesome. I'm South Asian. My mum was born here, but my dad's family immigrated when he was 3. He did not exactly conform to the American stereotype of a second-generation immigrant kid. Bottomless rage has a way of ruining any parent's plans. The racism didn't help either. You were the only South Asian kid in your school, until you couldn't go to school anymore. One time, shortly after your first change, you asked Clay about South Asian werewolves. He said you were the only one he'd ever met, and to watch out for were-tigers. They're all over India and Asia. You never learned if he was joking. It's snowing. Soft, fluffy snow that blankets this little triangular park and obscures the outline of houses. A snow plow rumbles past, blasting slush over a deserted bus stop. You guess it's 8 or 9 in the morning. You're hungry and bone-tired, but you permit yourself a quick smile as the Tahoe rolls away because you made it. The baying you fought either came from here or moved through here. What failures of vigilance allowed such a monster to travel so far? You need answers. More snow gusts. You feel like a ghost here in this unfamiliar place, as if not even the spirits have noticed you yet. But then they seem to gather around, cold and cruel, taking your measure. A shadow passes through the trees at the far end of the park. Then the snow settles, and you see college students at a bus stop, office workers looking for parking, people out walking their dogs despite the snow. Normal people, the people of the map, going about their everyday lives. You're the monster here. You're the intruder. You remind yourself to step carefully among people and spirits as you cross the park and start to explore. Chapter 2. Trail of the Straw Thief. The winter moon is surrounded by an extraordinary darkness, the logical antithesis of the supernal clarity of day. In this darkness, the dogs in every household howl together at the sight of a star, as if the stars were unnatural things. Angela Carter, A Smile of Winter. It's the beginning of a chapter. I mean, it's break time 2 minutes early, but let's do it. Break time, everybody. Enjoy the music. Yeah, okay. Slightly longer break. Slightly longer break than normal. I made myself a nice hot water and honey lemon. Shall we go? The rage is in you, making you itch, making you hurt. Feels like there's wolf fur and dirty hair between your skin and your flesh. Every time you move, it slides and scratches around, and you just want to dig your claws into your skin and open it up and make the itching stop. A vegetarian cafe below street level, away from the freezing wind, serves you a hot bowl of lentil soup and some coffee. Fuel for your work here. Surrounded by Raphaelite prints in gilded frames, bookshelves heavy with modernist literature, and early morning students drinking smoothies and opening their laptops. All the trappings of a well-to-do college town, you count out your last few bills and dig around for change. The dead horseman's fortune in 20s has dwindled to less than $40. Before you can crush the enemies of Guy, you have to consider the three basic necessities of modern life: food, shelter, data. You also need to consider the wolf, this sort of urban, rural borderland sheltered by hills and rivers, is perfect for Guru. And werewolves don't react well to intruders. On the other hand, maybe someone here can tell you more about what happened here. No, you're starving to death before I learn anything. I need a job and a place to stay. Maybe even a nice place around normal people. You pay for your breakfast and grab an abandoned breakfast burrito on the way out, eating as you walk down a cold street. Normally, you'd never bother to wear out shoe leather on a job hunt since no one gets jobs that way anymore. But you also have an investigation to conduct, and you've learned to follow your nose. And since you don't have a phone, a laptop, or much time, you can't spend all day on Indeed trawling the job listings. You need to get up in someone's face. That's scaring them too much. Without scaring them to death. The downtown area has a mini mall with a bookstore, some fad diet food markets and restaurants, and lots of vaguely exotic knick-knack shops. You hit every single one and no one is hiring. Not get out you creep not hiring, just fully loaded with college students and underemployed graduates desperate for paying work. But an entire morning spent talking with retail clerks, baristas, and tired postdocs gives you a few leads on where to find work. For a werewolf, jobs are a question of balancing your rage with the demands of employment. Customer-facing work means you'll have to keep your rage in check, but even if you work stocking cans, you need to hold it together around bosses and co-workers. You'll also need a job with flexible hours, of course, and the people who are willing to ignore lots of weird shit, and who don't have a car. This won't be easy. Groundskeeping or waste management will let me work alone and when other people aren't active. Groundskeeping is good for... what is the polite way to say this? Creepy loners with few ties to friends or family. Even a girl concerned by her rage won't draw too much notice. But it's also physically demanding. You'll have to be strong and quick to do these jobs well, and it's not all mindless, untrained labor. Snow removal and general maintenance around sensitive equipment requires finesse. The best way to hunt for this sort of work is online, so you walk to the nearest library. Forbes Library is a sprawling Romanesque building, a 19th century castle located on a hill across from Smith College. Cast iron railings flank a manicured walkway, now dusted with snow, that takes you inside. The interior is spacious, quiet, and cool, but not cold. Once you have a library card, a brief self-tour familiarizes you with the circulation desk, the freely available computers, and a media library. You boot up the first computer. Most places require a driver's license, but there's an assisted care facility on the bus line in the suburbs that responds to your email right away. It's around 7 p.m. by the time your bus reaches Gorski Manor, the facility in question. It's an ugly and decrepit place, once a stately Victorian estate, now a crumbling heap that serves as both an elderly care facility and a halfway home for recovering addicts. The decaying mansion has bad vibes, but the haunted-looking assistant director you meet says that all you need to do is pass a drug test and never be alone with a client. You won't have regular hours either. As long as you get the work done, snow blowing and defrosting in winter, weed whacking and landscaping in summer, you'll get paid. You won't get paid well, the rate is almost insulting, but it's enough for you to live on for now. demanding physical work, and probably not honest work. There's something wrong about this place, something crooked, but it's a job. You take the assistant director's card and promise to call him. Well, we can also, we can look for the rest of them. So let's look at garage as some kind of repair place, and then we'll take a look at outdoor work. You start by heading to computer repair places. One is in hiring. You strike up a good conversation with the tech at the other place, but she wants more details and references than you can provide. You keep that place in mind, wondering if you can cook up some fake references, then try the local garages. Unsurprisingly, they want long, brutal hours, and you're not here to work, you're here in your professional capacity as a werewolf. You doubt they'd understand, so garages are out. You're staring at a retro electronics store, wondering what an Atari is and how it is used when the store's big window reflects a bike with fat tires pushing through the snow. Curious, you follow the cyclist to a small house you mistook for a psychic's because of the neon hand glowing in the window. The cramped interior is filled with bikes and bike parts decorated with astrological paraphernalia. Takes you a while to find the store's name. Epicycle Bikes. Hey dude, the owner says. Dude? You strike up a conversation. The surf bum turned pewter wizard statuette salesman turned bike store owner tries to play it cool, but he's obviously desperate for skilled help. Apparently the stars haven't aligned for his previous employees, and even in winter there's a lot of work at a bike shop. Just as you're wondering what kind of resume you could fake, he asks you to pick a card from his deck. Need to see if you're honest, man, he explains. If you're gonna be good for this place. You pull the 10 of swords. Yeah, man, that's a good one, that's good. He starts telling you about hours and perks. You must be desperate. Of course, you're desperate too. There's a lot of work at a cycle shop, from inventory and computer operations to mechanical repair and market research. You'll need to have a lot of mental faculties to excel here. You also need to be careful to control your rage. You'll spend most of your time in back, but you might have to talk with customers or suppliers. You take his card and promise to call him back. Is this too traumatizing for you, Larksy, or Lauren, if themselves is with us tonight? So that's pretty funny in my opinion. Dangerous outdoor work tends to pay well, unless we work alone or look for roofing, logging, anything like that. Werewolves can do dangerous work without worrying too much or needing good health insurance. Everyone you talk to at the mall seems to have a brother or an uncle or a boyfriend who works in roofing or is an arborist, and they all stay busy even through the winter. But as you investigate, the problem becomes obvious. Every single roofing and tree cutting company expects you to have a driver's license in your own vehicle. You have neither. You fight your way past secretaries to a few owners to see if there's any wiggle room there, but though they're sympathetic, they can't make exceptions. Welcome back, comrade! Living weapon? You don't want to work any kind of bouncer or threat response specialist, since rage and petty violence don't mix well, but security companies need surveillance training, armory and inventory management, personnel and scheduling, and lots of other peripheral work. Security supervisor at the mini mall isn't hiring, but she gives you almost 20 places to check out. Light industrial sites that need night watchmen, armored car companies that need people to handle inventory, and even a few companies that sell security equipment. You hit the streets for hours, hitchhiking twice to get out of the cold, but you get nowhere. Most places either want a driver's license, which you don't have, or long and regular hours, which you can't commit to. The rest are already full up with veterans of America's endless wars or police officers rounding out their salaries. Around 3 p.m., you spend some time placing calls, using the phone of a neglected motel lobby to nearby malls and housing complexes, but even the lowest rent-a-cop jobs are filled. Yeah, that sounds really good. I just want to look up 10 of Swords. Oh, cool. Yeah, great. Just the image. Just give me the fucking image. Thank you. God, it actually irritates me how there are frames of everything on the internet now, and it's actually harder to just show me the image. Discord is real bad at it. Anything that changes the size of the image as the size of the browser changes, it irritates me. Just give me the image. In fact, I'm going to right click and open image in new tab. Just the image, please. Display capture, go! Could you? What are you doing? What are you doing? Could you just this one? Oh, of course, yeah, because there you go. Fine, that's fine. Totally normal. Absolutely twisted coming home with a load of swords. Anyway. Yeah. Ten of Swords, upright, failure, ruin, rock bottom, bitterness, dead end, betrayal, defeat, collapse, victimization. It's Wall of Darkness. Like, we should expect this. Huh. Hey. Alright. Yeah, rough card, huh? Look beautiful as hell, though. Alright, last thing, let's check. What does barista restaurant work sound like? Your New York state ID refuses to say you're 21, no matter how many times you check it, so bars are off limits. Hey, cleric. But this town crawls with coffee shops and hip little restaurants. Funny that also, like, the text of the novel is, like, coming home absolutely twisted. Like, the Ten of Swords. You draw it, and the guy's like, yeah, man, that's a good card. The text absolutely implies that everyone knows you're fucked. That's pretty funny to me. So bars are off limits, but this town crawls with coffee shops and hip little restaurants. The place had breakfast isn't hiring, but a waitress there tells you at a few places that might need help. Oh, I did put makeup. Well, that makes sense. Don't worry. I mean, you're Googling it. It's not like you're searching your own messenger chats or Discord messages or something similar, right? How interesting could it really be? Most places aren't hiring. There's an upscale breakfast place that seems interested, but their hours are inflexible. Finally, as the sun sets in a slate grey sky, you step into a new coffee shop that keeps odd hours and opened a few weeks ago. The location is bad, the furniture is ancient, and the espresso machine looks like a chunk ripped out of a U-boat's engine, but Byzance is hiring. Hours are flexible, clientele is eccentric, if rather unsavory, and the owner, a magnificently fat Turkish woman with more rings than fingers, seems only moderately insane. I'm in love. Working at a coffee shop would require carefully controlling your rage, but a werewolf with some social graces could rake in the tip money here. You take a menu and promise to call back. I think it's bike repair job. That sounds so funny. C-U-M is a noun. C-O-M-E or C-O-M-I-N-G is the verb. That's how I'm laying it out, and that's how I like it. The guy behind the counter at Epicycle looks up and says, "Hey dude." He obviously has no idea who you are, so you reintroduce yourself and he hires you on the spot. Epicycle is more than half garage, and a new employer shows you the workshop, the storage shed, and the kitchenette. You help yourself to a vegan brownie. And the cramped front office. Epicycle occupies a house off the main drag, but two customers come in while you get the tour. This place does good business, even if no one wants their palm read or fortune told. Yeah, I have the middle class love dream of working in a coffee shop, but I know it's not nearly as nice as I daydream it to be. YouTube, did you just stop my backing music for no reason? Fucking thing. Thank you. Since you're not a mechanic, your job is to free the owner up to make repairs by handling all the ordering and logistics that he doesn't have time for. Epicycle uses a proprietary inventory management system called AREOPAGITE that might be the single worst design piece of software you've ever used. And the pay is terrible. But the hours are flexible, as long as you can turn around a job As long as you can turn a job around in 48 hours, the owner is happy. Ooh. Cleric, see, that would suit you very well. Very well indeed. That'd be awesome. I want to practice by fixing my doors. Receive 2 more tarot card readings, the moon never appears, and a palm reading before the owner finally gives you his name, Udolfo Plotinus, and tells you to show up tomorrow around 9ish. Ooh, small good shop and deli but drive the delivery van. Hey comrade, have I told you about the bakery delivery van that is in fact driven by the owner that I bought bread from today? You two could set up a deal, make sandwiches together. I'll tell you more on Friday. Aren't I selling homes in your walls too? Selling homes in my walls? Makes sense. I guess. Yeah, that's just real life. Even as drilling holes. Ah. Yeah, probably. Don't sell holes in my walls either. Even as you've looked for a job, you've kept your eyes open for places to sleep. No one you've spoken to has offered you a place to crash for the night, and you still haven't found any other werewolves. So it's time for a shelter. You've been in scarier towns than this one, but you also know how fast shelters fill up when it's cold, and you know that sometimes the staff can be worse than the residents. You adopt a suitably humble and deferential posture, but not one so listless that you look like you're nodding or tranquilized. You approach the interfaith cot shelter you saw earlier today. It's located in a building that looks like a Greek temple, currently wrapped in orange construction netting. Downstairs, past a half-disassembled stair lift for wheelchairs, a woman sits on her phone behind a desk. She tells you to be quiet when you ask her if this is a shelter. Finally, the woman finishes whatever she's doing and says, "This is the overflow shelter," pronouncing each syllable in overflow like you've never heard of the concept before. You need to go to the main shelter on Aldrich and check there first. Where's that, you ask? There's a plastic holder for brochures on the desk and another bolted to the wall, but they're both empty. Oh my god. She pulls up Google Maps on her phone. Aldrich. You barely get to look at the street before she yanks her phone back and sends you on your way. Aw, love delivering meats. Love delivering meat in a sandwich formation. That sounds great. It's a long hike along unshoveled sidewalks to Aldrich Street. The lack of streetlights makes it hard to find your way, but after a few false starts and a car blasting you with freezing slush, you reach your destination. The Aldrich Street shelter is a big Italianate house pushed back from the street and gone to seed, and a regular black heap against the purple sky. You open them up the main door and step into a stinking, brightly lit room full of restless bodies. "Close the fucking door!" a ruddy-faced man yells before you finish opening it. You close the door and spot a thin, middle-aged grey-white guy in an oatmeal sweater talking to an old and agitated black woman. The facility director points to a tablet in his hands, and the woman storms past you, furious, and stands in the doorways, glaring as if daring someone to make eye contact. "We're full up," the director tells you, not looking up from his tablet. "Try Center Street." Are you really full? I'm willing to walk back since, looking around, I can make it, and a lot of people here can't. "Yes," the director says, "we're really full. There's no way to ask that question that makes the cot show up here." He wiggles this tablet under your nose. "As I already explained, Center Street still has cots available. Just fill out the forms and bring them to Marie." "Marie?" you ask. "It should be obvious from the context I'm discussing the care director at Center Street." He peels a form off a nearby table and hands it to you. "Better do as he says, girl," a scowling woman at the door says. "You'll end up at Langton." Langton, you ask? I would discourage you from staying there, the director says, not really paying attention. Violence and theft are endemic at facilities not affiliated with our network. But they got cots, the woman says. She leaves in a blast of cold air. Close the door, the same man as last time yells. Know how to cross stitch, comrade? Huh, there you go. You're a mess. Loxy. But I'm impressed. Alright. I don't know. Again, I'm up for that. We'll do our best. There's got to be some mischief we're having. What's this form look like? Let's skim it. Complex, contradictory, and badly Xeroxed, this form seems designed to confuse and belittle. The first thing you notice is that there are places you can check if you're feeling suicidal, or if you're currently undergoing withdrawal. And those boxes are carefully positioned next to a boilerplate about promising not to bring weapons or drugs into the facility. Is this how unhoused people end up as ranting paranoids? It would take brains, patience, and a fairly advanced education to fill out this form correctly. The shelters are probably so overfull that they want any excuse to turn someone away. Let's pay attention and fill out the form. You stand at a chipped desk in the lobby and fill out the form with a borrowed pen, lying where you need to and double-checking everything. You have to work fast the last few minutes because the director wants you gone. When he threatens to call the police unless you leave immediately, you head back out into the cold. It's a freezing, miserable walk back to Center Street. As you get back inside and head down the stairs, someone barrels past you, knocking you against the bricks. They scream and rant and then disappear into the cold night. Maria's still at the desk. She's on her phone finishing up a call that gives you time to review your form. We're full. The East Hampton Annex is open till 10 tonight. You hand her the form. She scans it and doesn't offer you any opportunity to savor your victory. Mike will assign you your cot, she says, returning to her phone. Mike is a very wide man in a black hoodie. He mumbles a long string of warnings and admonitions as he leads you to your cot, which is between two haunted-looking elderly men. As you're checking your supplies, a fight breaks out at the desk because someone doesn't want to go to East Hampton Annex, but after that it's quiet. You curl up in your cheap synthetic blanket and sleep. You dream that you cannot cry, and that when the tears come they are hair, and the hair droops down your face, burning your eyes, and then when you stumble blind into the kitchen and take scissors to cut the hair away, the hair is full of nerve endings, and the pain is blinding, and blood spills from the filaments of hair tumbling out of your eyes. As if compelled, you keep cutting and keep weeping, and the hair keeps growing endlessly, blinding and agonizing. Another fight wakes you up early. You shake off the scratchy blanket. You're dragooned into serving scrambled eggs, but the work ends you scrambled eggs, so you can't complain. They throw you out the moment you're done washing dishes. You tighten your dress and step out into the ice wind. Whew. Yeah, right? Again, World of Darkness is not a cheery setting. Your first day at work is mostly orientation. The good news is that Udolfo wants you working the morning shift with him for the first week here. There's a lot to learn, but it means you'll have the afternoons free to explore the town. Hey, look at that. We got a job. Time to find and make some formal introductions. I love how it gives you 3 options to say the same thing. The eye head, though. Oh, Luxy. Yeah. World of Darkness is a thriller or horror system. That's what it's for. Great. 10. Oh, I don't want to give up too much, but a 10 Candles game has been pitched at Fano for this year. Hell yeah. I'll link 10 Candles to my Discord, which you can get by typing !class into chat. You can take a look. And you can see what the setting's about, what the system's about, and what you can run with it. There are certain courtesies expected even of a cub, and it's better to make contact with the local werewolves on your own terms than to stumble into them. Who knows what tribes even dwell out here? Tradition dictates that you perform the howl of introduction. Scarpa taught you to howl and how important it was for Galliard to greet other werewolves boldly and with eloquence. If you prefer to be more discreet, you could look for glyphs. Some Garou mark their territory with a unique system of signs and scratches. Scarpa taught you the glyphs along with the primal tongue, and with enough patience you might be able to track the marks and symbols to a cairn, a place of spiritual power sacred to the Garou, or some other werewolf community. But glyphs are old-fashioned, and not all Garou bother with them anymore. A smart young werewolf could go online and search for evidence of the Garou, anything from news articles about animal attacks to deliberate hints and riddles left by the urban wolves to help facilitate contact. Also, many city wolves move among an urban population's indigent and criminal communities. If you are able to stay cool around them, they might help you. Yeah, good idea, Cleric. Do confirm, that sounds good. There are many cool friends, well, at least two, right? Coming up for Fenner, potentially. It does sound very good. Let's act cool and casual around the local transient population. Maybe some of these fringes know about the Garou and can lead me to other werewolves. As the hive is to the bee and the dam is to the beaver, so is the bike path to the crust punk. It's easy to find the main bike path, but though you probably have less money in your dress than most of these kids, your new clothes mark you out. You bounce from group to group, trying to act casual and strike up conversations, but the crust punks are sullen and hostile. You have no more luck at the park next to the bus stop, or the steps of the vape shop next to the old church, and you're starting to feel like someone is watching you. Finally, you spot an old hippie with animal liberation and vegan anarchism buttons on his ragged coat down at the skate park. The hippie tells you to fuck off, but the only kid skating in this horrible weather witnesses your conversation. They mention someone named Roscoe who puts on punk and metal shows. The kid hasn't seen Roscoe in a while, but they tell you that last time they saw him, he was bumming money outside of a place called GRC Media. You follow the kid's directions and find yourself in the parking lot of some kind of environmental advocacy group. Ooh. Ooh, T2. GSC Media Group is located in a glossy new building in the boxy and metallic gentrification chic style, across the street from a garage junkyard ringed with concertina wire. You circle the building to make sure security isn't heavy. Nothing. The door swishes silently open as you approach, silently closed as you take in the tasteful atrium, the minimalist decor. A formica table holds brochures and engraved business cards. There's one that says Daphne Clear, Chief of Operations, catches your eye because there's a faint raised design on it. A spider, patron spirit of the Glasswalker tribe. It seems awfully bold to advertise oneself so clearly, but it's woven so subtly into the pattern that only a Garou would notice. Can I help you? The secretary in a purple fleece is sitting at a white plastic desk beneath a huge flat-screen monitor that's cycling through nature scenes. Her tone and expression say that some kind of bum, possibly a drug addict, has just wandered into her tasteful atrium. Good afternoon. I'm here to see Ms. Clear. No reason to be rude or to waste time. And do you have an appointment? The secretary asks. Is there a problem here? A guy shouts, a little too loud. It comes from an office farther down the carpeted corridor, all red face and fists. Not a security officer, just a big guy in a too small button-down shirt. What's his problem? If you don't have an appointment, the secretary says, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. He glares at you until he meets your gaze. You're not even trying to be threatening, but a half second of eye contact makes him flinch, like you slapped him. You feel your rage rising to the surface, but you're still enough in control to decide whether or not to push it. Whew. I don't want a confrontation. I back off. Then I sneak back in. I'm definitely clever enough to find a way inside. Ooh, persuade, lie. Yeah, sounds good to me. Let's persuade. Also, we can show our stats, so let's do that. Fuck. 1 strength and dexterity. Decent stamina. My skills are shit. Persuasion, that's our only bet. Manipulation plus persuasion ain't bad. So let's give that a go. Won't be easy, but I should be able to persuade them to let me pass. Imagine playing through the whole thing without checking your stats. It's definitely a method. That's so difficult. I'm here to see Ms. Clear about a job, you say. We're not hiring, the secretary says. No, I mean a job she'll do for us, you say. The big guy just laughs. Get out of here, honey, he says like you're a streetwalker. I'm really afraid that you're going to have to leave, the secretary says, a brittle and frightened smile on her face. We're not getting anywhere here, and people are starting to poke their heads out of their offices. Too many people for you to make a scene. As you leave, you hear the big guy explain to his secretary. Yeah, they come up along the bike trail or whatever, they panhandle here and they go back down to buy drugs. It's starting to get cold. You're getting frustrated. You're missing something that will tell you exactly what's going on in this town and you can't figure out what it is. You patrol up and down the streets, eyes scanning faces, glancing up at windows. When you see a narrow-covered alley, you cut through it toward a parking lot. A man is waiting for you in the shadows. You've come a long way, he says, just to die here. Not the cat. The alley is so dark that even your sensitive eyes take a moment to adjust. The man standing in front of the stained bricks is a few years older than you, with a dark, serious face and short black hair. He is dressed in tattered but elegant clothes, a black frock coat with mismatched buttons, polished black boots, and a dark frayed V-neck sweater. Leather gloves protrude from the breast pocket of his coat. The young man has the air of a scholar, especially with a leather-bound quarto clutched in his hand, but his knuckles are crisscrossed with pale scars. Though he looks dangerous, he makes no move to attack. My name is Elton Day, he says. Ms. Clear told me you had come. Fucking awesome. He does, doesn't he? That's not a question I can answer. I think this guy is one of us, so I should keep this formal. I am Morgan of Clay's Pack in northern New York. A Bane attacked us and I tracked it here. Been a while since I got any respect, Elton says with a cold laugh. He's not local. He sounds British. Not a Cambridge lad, despite his air of bookish and genteel poverty. A glottal stops, swallowing out the back half of bin, hints of working class origins. Been a while since I got any respect. Been. I'm Elton Day of the Shadow Lords. I used to be more, but no, I'm not. Step inside. You can tell me how you came to this miserable place. He steps past you to a narrow door and takes out an elaborate brass key. All of these are awesome. Why do you smell like a dog that learned to smoke? Ah, sorry, comrade. My bad. The first one was really good, but dog that learned to smoke is... A dog that learned to smoke? Come on! How fucking cool is that? Yeah, see, that was a little odd. Is it a glottal stop? I don't know. Quick. You always want to needle the goth kids. Incense is part of the business, Elton says, opening the outer door. Amathea, crescent moon, you know what an auspice is, right? The stairs from the street to Elton's apartment are narrow and steep. The urge to walk hand over foot is almost overwhelming. And though it's only late afternoon, there's no light except from a crooked witch window at your back. The stairs bow in the middle as if 1,000 years of monks have climbed these steps, though the building can't be more than 2 centuries old. In the darkness, Elton inserts the key again without hesitation, turns it easily, and then puts his shoulder into the warped wood of the ancient door until it pops open. You step into a living room full of books and may immediately bang your knee in a coffee table covered in heaps of printouts. Books are everywhere, at every level, notably at wolf level in several places. The smell is books and dust and old rugs and brass and pewter, old cigarette smoke burned into the walls and black coffee. You see the cups left everywhere, balanced in the oddest places, and heavy dinner is not always cleaned up right away. You pick your way past iron candle holders covered in melted wax, plates decorated with blue pastoral scenes stained red and black, fat leather-bound notebooks full of handwritten scrawl, and nearly bang your head on a low candelabra strung with electric lights. Sit wherever, Elton says, sweeping his hand over a dozen surfaces, none suitable for sitting. You like that pause? I'm glad to give it to you. Something for you to titter at. Never interrupt an enemy when he's making a mistake or a potential ally when he's making tea. I'm hungry, so I'll wait for crumpets. You shut up and watch as Elton makes tea. He seems lost in memories, like a much older man than he is. But finally he says, "You're here for a reason. Tell me what it is." He said sit anywhere. Honestly, the first thing I need is a place to stay. Let's talk sofas, bathtubs, whatever Elton can offer. You're kidding? Elton says the moment he realizes that your story of adventure is turning into a story of woe. You shrug. A wolf's gonna eat and sleep. Do you have a job? The Shadow Lord asks. Epicycle bikes, you say. I need to wait even longer. Listen to chat. You're making fun of goth kids. Do I have to listen to you when you're doing that? Anyway, probably. You don't waste time, Shadow Lord says. He disappears into the kitchen for a moment and then comes back with a business card that says Al Gaultier Realty. The card has contact information for Mr. Gaultier, and on the back, an unusually fancy penmanship, a Garu glyph that you don't recognize. I'm doing you a favor. If you show him that card, Mr. Gaultier will permit you to stay in one of his units starting immediately as long as you have a job. Now tell me about what you brought here. Alright, cool. Focus on the Bane. Maybe throwing in a few details about how I kicked its ass. You tell the whole story. Elton only nods, sipping his tea, and tells you to start again. And as you do. And it was the horse that talked? Elton asks when you go over that part again. I'm sure of it, you say. Could the flies talk? Elton asks. I never thought to ask them anything, you confess, sipping a tea. You don't know how tea is supposed to taste, but this stuff isn't bad. But afterwards, when a storm cat appeared, he told us part before, and Elton showed surprise but did not comment. Now he says, I wonder if the storm cat sent you to save your pack leader, or rather to do something actually important. Well, when Clay said Scarpa killed the Bane, then started to eat the horse flesh, you start to say, this Clay was a fool, and he deserves the death that's coming to him. Elton says, do you even want to save him, Morgan? Clay was a shit, but I plan to stop whatever infection is coming out of this town before it spreads. Big plans for a little cub, Elton says. You're trying to stop something that has destroyed dozens of werewolves and defiled the entire can. You get that, right? Clay told you what happened here, didn't he? Were you there? Because I checked the records and I don't think Daphne Clear tried speaking to her too. I think she arrived after what happened here. What are they talking about? I don't remember that at all. Maybe we select it and we learn more. Again, since it's written like a novel, where are we? Northampton. Somewhere near Buffalo, I think. Northampton. Sometimes you select an answer and it like retroactively says you have done something in the past, and I like that. It's good for a novel, but it does make me wonder, did I miss something? TM. When it's in a game, especially a newly released game, I feel like, oh, is that a bug? Question mark. Is Northampton near Buffalo, or have we gone even further afield than I thought? Not great with geography. Let's figure it out. Northampton. Town in England. Town in Australia. City in Massachusetts. Yeah, that's probably the one we're looking for. It's only a 5-hour drive from Northampton to Buffalo, so maybe that's it. It flashback. Well, let's do this. Daphne Clear wasn't originally one of us. Elton says, her husband Linus Harriman was one of our Silver Fangs there. Actually, ex-husband, they were split up by them. Doesn't matter now that he's dead, I guess. She runs an environmental news and media company. Mostly she watches the thing in the woods, the thing that turned out Kayan into a nightmare. And to a lesser extent, she deals with the minor problems that a bit of data manipulation can solve. People talking about weird dog attacks, that kind of thing. I don't have many good things to say about Glasswalkers, but they're good researchers. Daphne told me about you maybe 10 minutes after you got into town. But it's not like she can do anything against the answering tiger. The answering tiger, you ask? What's that? A spirit? A bane? Of what use in names? The Shadow Lord says. That final night, God. It was only 3 years ago, but it feels like 1,000. We realized too late that we'd already lost. The tiger had led us believe our own propaganda. That's all the tiger was. All the tiger is. A lie shaped like what you want to believe. We lied to ourselves and it came to us and it blinded us. We turned on each other. Shadow Lord against Silver Fang. Human against Garou. Family against family. Answering Tiger had servants, of course. Banes like the one you battled. Fomori, werewolf sworn to the Wyrm. But the weapon it used to strike us down was us. What more can be said? A gust of icy wind rattles the windows. Your hands are cold. You glance down and see that you've drunk all the tea. Shadow Lord sips his tea, then looks out the window. Now, it's getting late, and I've neglected my studies. I may have lost Broadbrook, and quite a bit more, but I still have my library. It's a consolation. Broadbrook, you ask. The Cairn, Elton says, Arol's sacred site, and more than that, Broadbrook sprawled across hundreds of acres and sheltered the Garou and the 3 families here for generations, in life and in death. I haven't been there since the others died. He meets your eyes, and for a second you think he's going to offer you to join you in exploring the site, but then Elton just lapses into brooding silence. He fries, careful not to knock any books to the ground. I respect your determination, Elton says, rising. Call that number I gave you, and for what it's worth, I hope the spirits of Gaia watch over you. He follows you back down the tall, narrow steps, then closes the downstairs door, leaving you alone in a wind-blown parking lot across the covered alley. The temperature plunges, but you've made plans this time. You retrieve some free newspapers, cut through a garden that hasn't been touched in decades, hop a chain-link fence, and approach an abandoned ranch house across from a boarded-up daycare. Despite previous signs of occupancy, no one has squatted here for weeks. You dig around under the porch and retrieve some dry wood. You kick out a board, crawl inside, and use the newspapers to start a small fire. The air is smoky and the fire doesn't offer much warmth, but you're able to curl up in your stained fleece and get a few hours of sleep. You dream of the tribes. What if the bone gnawers reject you? What if after beholding their patron spirit you find yourself spiritually incompatible with them? Who else might you join? glass walkers, the future techno shamans and corporate raiders who pit the Weaver against the Wyrm. The world has changed again. The glasswalkers began as the warders of apes in the days of the earliest cities. Then they were the city warders, then the iron riders, hunters on land and sea. When the cities rose and rose to blot out the moon, they became the glasswalkers, and now they hunt boardrooms and chat rooms, making alliances with the machine spirits of the Weaver to fight the all-consuming annihilation represented by the Wyrm. But they're not all corporate raiders and cyber geeks. The fair trade coffee place that has the best roast in town, the recording studio that pits spiritual yearning and technical mastery against soulless corporate tunes. Some of these places too have glass walkers watching over them, watched in turn by their patient and pitiless patron spirit, Spider. The other tribes don't understand, of course. Isn't the Weaver an enemy too? Hasn't she strangled the natural world in her webs, turning forest into tract housing, filling the sea with styrofoam and microplastics? Didn't she turn the limitless potential of cyberspace into a corporate panopticon in less than a generation? Maybe. But the Garu must fight a war in the terrain they have, not the terrain they want, and that terrain belongs to the Weaver. Next morning dawns cold and bright. You feel half frozen and 3/4 dead, but at least you woke up. However, this cold is so bone deep that you can't even rely on your werewolf regeneration to heal you. Have you seen our stats? We straight up need to be with those fucking nerds. Your first day of work that's more than orientation. Spend the morning at Epicycle learning the ins and outs of the inventory and tracking system. This is complicated by the fact that Udolfo obviously does not understand the system and cannot admit it. But eventually you're able to decipher Areopagite, even though you can't figure out what the acronym stands for or why an inventory system needs to have a Gnostic theme. You should do okay here. Udolfo is pleased enough that you convinced him to order some food from the Greek place up the street. Love some Greek food. Fuck yeah. So from that bread delivery van, I got some pies that I will be putting into the oven and having one for lunch or dinner tomorrow night, and that's going to be extra delicious. Probably lunch. And a chocolate croissant for breakfast. 2 pretzel buns. One tiny one. He's like, it doesn't really count. I'll give you one for free. All right, thanks. Cool. Hell yeah. I had the tiny one. It was delicious. And a loaf of soy and linseed sourdough. And I've had a couple slices of soy and linseed, and boy, is it a nice bread. Anyway, finished daydreaming about bread. I call a number on the card Elton gave me so I have a place to stay. It's time to put a roof over your head. Since you don't have a phone, you go to Epicycle and use the phone there. The call connects immediately. Al Gautier? Hi. I spoke with my friend Elton about an available unit. You got a job, kid? I work at Epicycle, the bike store, and Jesus Christ, kid, I didn't ask how your mother met your father. Shut up. Just get your supervisor to indicate you're gainfully employed. I need it for insurance purposes. I'm bringing the card from Mr. Day and come to... Hey, Todd, what do we have? Muttering from the other end of the line. Then Al Gaultier reads off an address that's a half hour away on foot. Can you handle those 2 things? He snaps. Are you talking to me or Todd? He hangs up. Sorry, he's hung up. Everyone is so fucking rude. They are to test your rage to see if you get angrier at them. The Dolfo Plotinus is in back, tuning up a fixie with... Okay, sorry. Moving back. Generally, I actually really hate it when everyone's mean and rude to you. Like, that's one of the reasons particular friends' vampire games don't gel super well with me, because something about the, like, no friendly elders anywhere just gets my goat in a way that shouldn't work. Like, it's supposed to. That's what fucking vampires about. But they're just, like, artlessly, gracelessly rude. That got me really irritated. But in Werewolf, it fits the tone a little better for me because we're trying really hard to hold back our rage. Like, that's the big theme going on. Remember that your power stat in Apocalypse here is called Rage. The higher it gets, the harder it is to resist just raging out. That's a big part of the theme. That's the story. That's why there's like Rudy McRuderson's microaggressions, all sorts of bullshit, people snapping at each other because you're supposed to feel have your anger tested frequently. Oh. Thanks, comrade. That's interesting. Areopagite was the first Catholic Archbishop of Athens and is the patron saint of judges. Udolpho Plotinus isn't back tuning up a fixie when you explain your situation. Greasy and surrounded by gleaming steel tools, he's all professionalism now, no palm reading your questions about your chakras. You hand him tools until he's done, and he explains what he's doing. After he washes his hands in the little bathroom papered over in Greek astronomical treatises, he vaguely estimates your hours and signs a written promise that you're employed here. But you can't just wander out now that you're here. You need to get your work email set up, and then you and he slack with a bunch of suppliers all over New England, and he introduces you and promises that your performance won't be like the last two, that won't happen again. You gotta trust me. Then there's a long, boring three-way conversation, you say almost nothing, with a regular about his daughter's first year at UCLA. You escape early in the afternoon. The days are getting lighter, but the sky is slate grey, the air bitter, and when you reach the address Mr. Gaultier gave you, as if by magic, one step takes you from a truck-choked commercial avenue into the snowy woods where a decaying gambrel squats among skeletal black trees. In summer, the foliage will hide it completely from the commercial street in one direction and the farmlands in the other. Only the brand new pickup idling in the driveway hints at the cottage is something other than a ruin. The truck door bangs open and a short, fat man jumps out. Mr. Gaultier. Hey, you cutie. Are you Elton's friend? Look at me, I'm listening to chat. I'm gonna wait for a second so you can make votes at me. In the meantime, I want to point out that my fucking chair's broken. When did it break? Like a month ago? But it was only today, like just now, did I realize I can take one of the armrests off. How do you mean hovel is pretty funny? I sigh. Yes, I am Elton's cute friend. He doesn't say anything for a moment, just looks you up and down, as if he can see anything exciting under your dress, and your crust of road dirt. Finally, where's your thing? He scans your document and says, you still owe me at the end of the month for your time here. First and last month gets rolled into your next 3 payments. Let's get inside for the rest of the paperwork. This chair has been a fucking chair at least once, yes? Things can be 2 things, likely. Mr. Gaultier wears a pork pie hat to hide his baldness and a checkered coat. His movements are twitchy and anxious, like he is expecting the feds to jump out of the bushes at any moment. He talks in a rapid-fire ramble about how hard he'll kick your ass if you damage his property. He has a kind of Scar Danny DeVito vibe. Or if the butler and the prisoner did poppers. Inside, his 2 sons are yelling at each other about a drill one of them dropped. They stop yelling to check you out when you step into the living room. Their eyes cold and appraising. The living room is trashed like raccoons who used to hold secret illegal boxing matches here. It's also freezing. Where's the heat, you ask? Seems like a pertinent question in New England in February. Girl, I'll keep it warm, one of those sons says. He winks at you and the other pushes him. We're working on it, Mr. Gaultier says. But look, these old houses need heat, you say. Listen, you whiny bitch, Mr. Gaultier says. I'm doing a favor for Elton. You owe me, not the other way around. That is an outbreak, no. Thankfully. I'm not sure I appreciate your attitude towards me or Mr. Day. I'm not sure I give a shit about what you think, girl, Mr. Gaultier says, pushing into your personal space so I can retrieve some paperwork from a crooked table. Todd, why don't you share your pronouns and show our new lodger around? Show my what? Show her the fucking house, you. No. Boo. What? Did I not wait long enough? God, so pushy, chat. Mr. Gaultier's younger son tries to hide the gambrel's warped timbers and crumbling stonework as he gives you the tour, but he's not fooling anyone. Yeah, exactly. I'm not reading it out loud. The electricity works, and only the living room is trashed, but the place is small and badly laid out. 2 rooms upstairs, a kitchen and a living room downstairs with a fireplace and mismatched furniture. The bathroom is bare concrete and chipped porcelain. Looks like a place for Victorian doctors to hose down mental patients. The water doesn't flow so much as ooze out the pipes. You see, yeah, this ain't getting fixed today, Mr. Gaultier says. Pack it in, boys. We'll send someone out, I don't know, Friday-ish. The wind howls across the farmland, cutting through the warped timbers of the little cabin. I know my way around mechanical problems, and I can figure out what's wrong with the heat. The first problem is obvious. The thermostat needs a new battery. Get the brothers to take care of that. Then Mr. Gaultier follows you as you head downstairs and examine the furnace. You check the filter and it looks disgusting. That's going to have to be replaced. But you're not an expert on furnaces, and when you pull it out, the rusted metal rips. You fucking idiot, Mr. Gaultier shouts. Now I'm going to have to replace the whole furnace housing. It's rusted out, you say. You'd already get the fuck away from it, he shouts, ordering you back upstairs. And adding that to your first rent payment, at least $100. What happened? One of the brothers asks. Dumb bitch fucked up the furnace housing, Mr. Gaultier mutters. He wheels on you again. We'll be back. If you don't pay up, you're back on the streets, you fucking junkie. They storm out and load into the truck, leaving you in the cold house. Ugh. We may eat them. Like, we could eat them. The first thing you do is clean the trashed living room, which keeps you warm. You bag everything the Gaultiers didn't take with them and carry it outside, then cross the street to an abandoned shed, maybe an old sugar house. You make sure no one is watching, then shove your way inside and find some mostly dry wood and an ancient bundle of newspapers. You bring it all back to the gambrel and get to work building a fire in the fireplace. The fireplace needs a cleaning, but the rusty flue works after you force it a bit. You use your lighter to get the newspaper going. The wood isn't great, and it smokes and cracks, but eventually you have a small fire. Without an axe, you're limited to brushwood, and it takes you most of the afternoon to find enough for a few days. Afterward, you investigate the furnace, but you have no idea what's wrong with it, and you don't want to damage it further. It's going to be a long, cold couple of weeks until the Gaultiers send someone out to fix the heat. If they ever do. Your thoughts are a blur as you head back to your cabin with a few items you took from the trash outside Epic Cycle to make the place more livable. A folding table, compartmentalized storage bins, some plates, extra batteries. You build a fire and fall asleep. Up early for Epicycle, 6 hours in the garage sorting different kinds of screws. Boring, but at least you're warm and you have pastries to eat. Jolfo criticizes the finesse with which you handle and sort screws, but otherwise seems to tolerate you. One place to sleep for the night means your bones aren't aching anymore. Whew. Shift and regenerate first. You need to heal these wounds. By shifting into one of your supernatural forms, the near-human Galabro, the direwolf Hispo, or the Krenos war form, you can focus your spiritual energy and quickly heal from injuries. However, wounds caused by silver, fire, or certain attacks that specifically target immortal creatures, such as the fangs of another werewolf, disrupt your ability to regenerate. A night's rest is usually necessary to start healing from those terrible wounds. Regenerate fully! Fucking hell, yeah, alright. When you first learned of werewolves' amazing regenerative powers, you didn't appreciate how you'd experience all the pain of a month-long recovery in a few minutes. Now you know how your flesh gropes clumsily like a blind man, sealing itself together, pairing a torn nerve in endings in a frenzy of agonizing life urge. In seconds, the living energy of Gaia has healed you inside and out and left you shuddering from pain and nausea. But you can't wander around in your hulking glabro form, at least not until you learn the streets better and know how to hide. Once your wounds are fully healed, you shift back into your normal human form. Cool! Let's research Daphne Clear. Just turning your thoughts to Daphne Clear makes you feel as though you're being watched. The Shadow Lord? Or something else? Though your former packmates feared the Shadow Lords, Elton was helpful, especially about the Daphne Clear, but you want to form your own opinion. After reading the brochures you took from GRC Media, you see several avenues of investigation. Internet research might reveal more about Ms. Clear's operations in town, though you doubt passive research will tell you what you need. You'd have to get online and talk to people, and you'd have to be clever, not to draw attention. But maybe it's smarter to go low-tech against that glasswalker. Archival research at the library may yield physical records, though that'll take patience. We could hit the streets and investigate. A cool and friendly attitude will encourage people to talk, and then, here's the trick, stop talking once you're gone. Physical records, we've got academics, skill. We're no longer in the section of the game where we're building a skill list. Now we're actually using him, so let's go. Glasswalkers can erase digital records, but console jockeys have a bad habit of ignoring printouts and analog photographs. Increasingly, libraries don't even bother with physical record keeping as it takes up space they don't have and requires expert maintenance, which costs money. This actually helps. Forbes Library has an entire storage room devoted to recent newspapers and magazines that they desperately need to scan or trash. Disorganized and neglected, this room contains physical newspapers as well as tech, media, and environmentalist magazines that may tell you more about GRC Media. You learn basic details from archived magazines. Daphne Clear is in her mid-40s and got a computer science degree from the Georgia Institute of Technology. Previous work in publishing, environmental research, comms, from newspaper records, married to a Linus Harriman, and then separated. Harriman died 3 years ago. That mysterious death piques your interest. You've been reading for so long that you're starting to lose focus, so instead you let your gaze wander as you flip through physical records, looking at pictures and diagrams, waiting for something to catch your eye. And then it does. You've been reading so long that you're starting to lose focus. What? 30 minutes? And again, I do have the lose focus disorder, so... You stare at the picture attached to an article from the Daily Hampshire Gazette, the local newspaper. Fight over development deal turns violent. The text of the article, including the byline, has been replaced with a completely different article from the Carter administration. An impressive hack, since this is a physical newspaper, but the picture is labeled Linus Harriman, 46, Elton Day, 19, and Catherine Aslanian, 20, have opposed the Broadbrook expansion, which would... Then it turns into more randomized babble. The photo is in color. The newspaper may be 5 or 10 years old. Linus, a middle-aged white man in a faded leather jacket and torn jeans. Elton, a young black man in a long black coat. Catherine, blonde and a Hollywood pretty with big cornflower blue eyes and a long blue dress. Local woodlands behind the trio, but something is off. That hill, for example, looks like a barrow. This is good. This is what you need. So you've confirmed that Elton has been here for a while. And you remember a previous mention of Catherine's last name, Aslanian. You flip back and find another gibberish article that contains only the phrase, Aslanian purchased the Main Street apartment that was formerly the site of the words, and everything else is randomized fill from, you think, a Dickens novel? There's a picture of Elton's apartment. Your cabin is near a little airfield, and you can hear the prop planes landing late into the night. Who the hell is flying a 20th century planes this late? The cold seeps through the boards, and you get up a few times to add more logs to the fire. Day 3. Gainful employment. A fist fight breaks out over different kinds of brakes, or maybe the little clips bikes use as part of their brakes? You're not sure, but while Adolfo seems like a flake, you both work to make sure no one calls the cops. After that, some more inventory. Comrade, poetic language had a shift from the library to home. The library phase ended, and then we got... So there was a next button, and I'm thinking game mechanics wise, like building the structure of this novel, it goes into the end of day 2, which includes a dream or similar sort of night thing of the planes going overhead, and the putting the dots together. I feel like would have got similar, though not exactly the same, results if we clicked the investigate, investigate the barrow, or like find information on, yeah. And so the day 2 thing is always going to give us that you found XYZ bits. Not always, but yeah. Look at that. No, not sloppy writing at all. You didn't see that it moved between the two. It's poetic writing. Not everything's spelled out. Have you read? It's a couple of things, like from East European creators, like a couple of things like The Night Watch by Sergei Lekinienko and The Witcher. What's his name? Whatever it is. Oftentimes they don't have connecting sentences. It just goes from one to another. And so you got to be more switched on paying attention. It's harder when you're like listening. You click the next button. It's harder when you're not doing the clicking, but I think it's enough. Both of you two are too sleepy. That's my statement. Investigate the actual location of Broadbrook. Maybe I can heal this land. Yeah. You walk to Forbes' library, where you can search online and also look at physical maps. The nearest bend of Broadbrook itself is north of the library, but the forest around it stretches miles and miles to the north and west, not ending until somewhere in Canada, when the trees give way to tundra, probably. There are parts of that forest that have never seen the people of the map, you're sure. Miles of land still ruled by North America's oldest spirits. You could conduct your initial research here from the comfort of the circulation desk or a library computer. Both physical and online maps might reveal evidence of a settlement, which would let you head towards the cairn. But not everything is online. Instead of poking about on the computer, you could head out early and scout on foot. Patience and survival training would help you turn up evidence of previous occupation. Alternatively, Garou leaves spiritual evidence of their presence, and though you don't know any Garou rites to sniff out occult energy, you might be able to rely on your spiritual awareness and attunement to find something interesting. I'm smart enough to use physical maps to figure out where to go before I head into the woods. I've got to do that research again. Garou would have hidden the Broadbrook cairn from satellite observation, but that's just part of life as a modern werewolf. Even professional cartographers and hunters might miss the signs, but you know what to look for. Clearings and distinct irregular shapes for moots and challengers, woods reshaped and pruned instead of cleared, other signs of long-term intelligent occupation from creatures that don't think like regular humans. There, in a black and white satellite photo, a clearing with 3 trees of different species in the center. And there, bare stone where the elevation would seem to favor tree cover. Barely noticeable, but there it is. You're sure of it. But you can't just sit around here all day turning the pages of geographic survey booklets. Daylight is burning. You photocopy the most useful maps, relace your boots, and hitchhike up to the Veterans Hospital. From there, you head into the woods around Broadbrook. Alright, it is 10 o'clock and we're going to finish there, my friends. It's been a busy day. Oh, partially. Been up to a couple of things. It has been significant fun. I nearly hit stop stream instead of drop back to chatting for a little bit. That would have been embarrassing. Hey, Jimbles, where'd you go? I just bailed. Whoa, has it been fun going through the Book of Hungry Names? When will we do episode 2? I don't know, but boy am I excited to go through more of it. Werewolf is a fun setting and I have not spent enough time in it, so investigating it would be good fun. In any case, thank you very much for joining me and I hope to see you again. I will see you this Sunday night, because we're moving to Sunday night, right? That'll be good fun. Okay. Thanks very much for joining me, and I hope you have a very lovely evening and look after yourselves until Sunday night, where you can join me again for Baldur's Gate 3. And, on my behalf, please tell the people you love them very much. Good night, everyone.